right. Anyways, it is part 2 from this morning where I had the silenced one join me on the Non Sequitur Show to talk about destiny, not the type of destiny like, future, what do they call manifest destiny? Nothing like divine providence, but destiny from YouTube, who has been, I think, losing his mind is the best way to put it.
It is definitely career self-destruction at this point. He has hit the red button on his channel and is just waiting for things to blow up.
It's fine. And I'm not even against the guy. I'm not somebody who's like against destiny, but watching him self implode in real time so let's just reel it back a little bit. Give the audience a brief overview of what we witnessed over the last 24 hours.
I'll give you a brief overview of what I witnessed, because I hadn't known. I knew about Destiny in passing, but I'd never actually done any research into the guy until today, until Steve asked me, hey, you want to be on the Non Sequitur Show? So, I saw a few of the posts that he was making, like, wow, what a dirtbag. And so we had the Non Sequitur Show. We went through a bunch of that stuff in the part 1. You see it in this YouTube channel. And then after I went to work, there was a space that opened up, and Destiny was actually speaking. Oh, I got to hop into that one. And so when we hopped into that one, ad hominem, insult. If you are any sort of conservative, right-wing, support Trump in any way, you are on his chopping block. He is ready to absolutely tear you a new one. The worst thing that I heard today was this one lady. It was before he left. A lady from New York was asking her, like when she had that New Yorker accent, asking Destiny. I said her just now. Asking Destiny. Destiny's a fucking woman's name, all right? A freaking woman's name. I forgot. We're on YouTube. But still, ask Destiny all about their opinion about it. And Destiny responded, you know how when you eat an Oreo cookie, how sometimes you'll eat the whole cookie or you'll take the top off and lick all the white stuff? I want to know, do you start at the blue stuff when you eat a Tide Pod, or do you just eat the whole thing in one go? This is the absolute utter contempt this person has for anybody who is even remotely supportive of Trump, any right-wing politics, any sort of position that is not all the way extreme left-wing. This is by far the worst of the worst I have ever seen on any platform, and it happens after Trump gets grazed by a couple of bullets, an American dies, and 2 more Americans go into an ICU. Oh my goodness gracious! But you know what? $3.5 million donated for the families affected by
good
this.
On that, man. At least they're going to be taken care of, especially after the tragedy they have. Logical Kyle says, I agree with Destiny on those things. I don't really agree or disagree with him. I don't watch him that much to know about, the things I agree upon, but I will never watch him after this. I'm sorry, but for him to go into a Twitter space, and by the way, the lady that asked that question, I did start following her.
Oh yeah, so did I.
Very, very nice. And she had every right to ask the same question that we asked this morning, which was basically this person who died yesterday trying to protect their family from a domestic terrorist attack on American soil, who was a firefighter, is a American hero. And Destiny was slandering this man's name and basically saying, basically another Trump
R on the man.
Yeah, he called him the R. Yeah, he called him an art, thing. And basically was offering to pay for people to go to the next Trump rally so they can have front row seats, so they can potentially be shot at. That is unbelievable. I mean, it's just I don't understand how you even can get away with that. I'm not for cancel culture, but I mean, that's pretty threatening.
Well, that's their main weapon, is cancel culture. And when the cancel culture is on the other foot, which they're experiencing right now, you have the absolute most inhumane things being thrown on the internet. Because they're getting a taste of their own medicine when it comes down to bad things happening to people that are on their side, you get situations like this. You get people making comics where the character is meant to symbolize Trump, saying we need looser gun laws, and then getting part of his ear shot off. You have people like that now showing their true colors because a bad thing happened and it wasn't bad enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he man, I'm telling you, okay. So I missed the first half. Okay, I missed the first half. So let me ask you: is it recorded? Because I didn't see it being recorded.
Wasn't recorded. If anything, it was probably recorded. Like I know Destiny was streaming it at the time.
All right, so it'd be still on his channel then, right?
It would possibly still be on his channel. I don't know if he would have taken it off because he was looking really bad through that whole thing. Like he's a monster. I hate to put it that way, but he's a monster.
I got there before started, and I got there where he was just talking over and yelling like a banshee. Like
what got me was when he said it was his space. No, you weren't even a co-host, and there was a reason for that.
I didn't realize it either. I thought he actually had started the space, but then I looked at it and it was like, no, that's not his space. He's not the host. He wasn't even a co-host.
He's not, and that's why.
Arrogance.
And the hostess, big props to her. She kept her composure through all of that.
Yeah, she did a good job.
Yeah,
she really did.
And I think that's what we need. I'm always going to stand on the idea that not 100% of a population is entirely innocent. All right, there's no way in heck you are going to get me to admit, oh yeah, everybody in this population is good, or everybody in this population is evil, because there's always the bad eggs. If the guy was a Republican that shot at Trump and shot Corey I always have trouble saying his name. I want to say Compatore was his name because it's Tore at the end. It's a little weird. But shot Corey as well as the other two Americans who have yet to be revealed as far as their names. I haven't seen anything on them. I hope they're doing good wherever they are. I hope that what medical personnel are taking care of them. Because of all of that, we're seeing people come out. We're seeing people just be absolute monsters, and Destiny was not the limit. And that's why we need people to let these evil individuals reveal themselves. It's just like Pride with the maps and the and like pedophiles, pedophilia and all that. They were revealing themselves. Well, let them reveal themselves. Let them show how much of a monster they are.
They really did. They have actually. They're so funny because they actually were like getting confident that somehow the LGBT community would accept them. It's like, are you kidding me? It's like, and they were like, oh well, it's just a predilection. It's like, no, you're disgusting, and anybody who's gay or lesbian should run far away from you, and as well as any heterosexual person.
Oh yeah, and they're still doing it.
Hey,
yeah. So, hey, Ozian, so have you been paying attention to the whole, I know you have Destiny thing?
He's a disgusting, horrible man-child. What is
it's
wrong
bad. It is so bad.
Dude, I've been on this wonderful marvel of a world that's going to shit, not because of politics, because of politics a little bit. Maybe because we need to do something about global warming. Can you hear me?
Hey, Logic Kyle, no, we love criticism here.
We love criticism.
We bring it on, man. I mean, I told you, I don't know Destiny. I mean, okay, I
blame you
talked to him before, but I don't know his political positions really. I just know he's a far left leaning, but I've never really sat down and said, oh, not Destiny believes this. No, he's super far left.
No, he's for personhood when it comes to abortion. So he's for he's a capitalist. He debated Leo at DebateCon 4. He was pro-capitalism. Leo was for socialism.
Well, he's a contrarian. I think he just debates whatever people ask him to debate.
Yeah,
so that's why I don't know what his core arguments are.
Yeah, so maybe he doesn't have a core. Like Andrew Wilson was saying, he's
not far left. I thought Destiny was the whole thing that he was far left.
Bosch
are
is
you kidding me? He isn't far left. He is a centrist.
No. How is he a centrist? I'm a centrist, and he was in a space saying that he was upset. He's literally angry that the guy missed yesterday. He thought the guy should have aimed better.
Yeah, we said this in the first part over on the Non Sequitur show earlier today. If you are, and it was basically confirmed in the space that we were both in. If you are even remotely for Trump or conservative in any way, shape, or form, he wouldn't mind, quote, buying you a front row ticket to the next Trump rally, unquote. He is not. I
I don't know how he's a
doubt
standard
he's
liberal.
anywhere close to
I
center.
agree. The left doesn't really much like him, but I don't want to say he's a standard liberal. A standard liberal to me would be somebody like Sargon of Akkad. He's more of a classical liberal.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Sargon would be classical liberal. I am getting thirsty though.
Vosh is far left. Yeah, no doubt about that. Vosh is like way far left. But I mean,
he's a capitalist. He promotes capitalism.
Well, so does Destiny.
He
Destiny
endorses capitalism because it helps him, but he won't hesitate to promote communism on his own show. I've noticed that about Bosch. He'll say things.
No, not
but
Bosch.
Also,
Destiny.
He's talking about Destiny.
Oh, Destiny. Okay, yeah. Well, we had a comment
Bosch
come up about Bosch.
I think Bosch goes to Marxism or something, doesn't he?
I think
I thought it was socialist.
I thought it was more socialism. I think
potato. Okay.
Yeah. Potato. But they distinguish between it. I think
it's more for the other. His points are all as flat as my beer right now.
Dude, I think they're just confused because they're young.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, what do you, if people haven't watched what's been going on today, you may not follow along for too well, but what do you think's going to happen with Destiny? I mean, look, there might be a short-term bump. Don't get me wrong.
Elon says he's going to demonetize.
Is it? He's already lost 2,000. Wow, he's lost 2,000 on his YouTube already in one day.
Is he under a 250,000 on followers on his X?
Well, on X, actually, he went down. He was at 251.5. He went down to 250, and all of a sudden he's back up to where he was before. So he lost like 1,500, then gained 1,500 over all this. But he's losing thousands on his Twitter, on his YouTube. But again, I mean, you think about what's left in his group, right? He literally has the people left that think that it was okay to try to do a presidential assassination. These people literally think to usurp the political process, it is perfectly fine to try to take out your political opponents on American soil by a domestic terrorist. How does anybody think this way?
Let's put this in context. If Destiny's trolling, let's put this in context. Let's make an analogy with Alex
Jones?
Rosen?
Alex Jones made a comment about the shooting way back when at the school shooting.
The
Hook. He got sued. He said the next day, like, I wasn't sure. I take it back. He did. He retracted the statement. The next day, people want to forget about it, throw him under the bus, whatever. He did retract his statement. I remember him retracting his statement. And Alex Jones is more of like he would be more of a classical liberal, a conspiracy theory nut.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Liberal.
Oh my God! Hang on one second.
$50.
Whoa, Josh!
Steve, Mary, my parrot, needs some parrot food. She's really starving.
So $49.99. Josh says, just got home in time to catch this. Love you, Steve. You too, brother. I messaged him earlier today, so I was hoping he could kind of join one of these things. He couldn't join the Non Sequitur show. The link is in the video pinned there, so if you want to come on in, Josh. But thank you. I don't know if you've been following this, man, but holy dude, I'm telling you, I have never witnessed a person in real time destroy any shred of credibility. Because again, there was probably like, I think 5,000 people in that space, if I remember.
And I think the people that are following him now and raising his numbers again are just the hypnotized masses. Like,
true.
This is it.
But think about
this is it. Let me put it. Let me quick.
Okay.
Really, I'll wrap it up really quick.
Ahead.
Put a pin in it. So it doesn't matter if Destiny's trolling. If Destiny doesn't really believe anything he's saying, he just it's a lark for him, like a friggin' weed induced troll, right? For him, it doesn't mean his followers don't take it seriously,
right? Because he has gained. He lost some and then gained some. And here's the thing, though: those people in that stream were people with 250,000 subscribers. These were people. There was a congressman in there, an actual congressman. So the Keemstar was in there. The Quartering, I think, may have been in there. I mean, there's all big players in that, and none of them will ever work with Destiny. Not a single one of those, I bet you, would ever work with Destiny again.
Right.
He's alienated himself to no end by going after a person who died trying to protect his family. I don't understand how that's a troll. I don't understand how that's even extreme hyperbole.
I'm not taking
that's
Destiny
just morbid. That's sick.
I'm taking his words seriously because his words are important.
He was serious in that hangout.
Yeah.
I don't have a recording on it, but I guess Destiny's on his channel. But I'm telling you, he was serious, man.
Out of this guy.
He was visceral.
This is the thing with perception. Okay, we could go. We have a history in this country. People pretend like politics has been vitriolic just recently, right?
Hey, Josh.
Hey.
Oh, Josh. But
Yeah,
we
go
can
on.
take
Yep.
it back
I made it.
to Thomas Jefferson. They were saying, Thomas Jefferson's going to round up your Bibles and burn them. People actually buried their Bibles. There's no news stories of people burying their Bibles, whether they actually did or not.
Mhm.
Hi,
Because
Bliss
he thought
Chris.
Thomas Jefferson
Hi,
was going
Bliss.
to bury their
Bliss.
Anyway.
Oh my goodness gracious! You are correct. There was a situation where Thomas Jefferson saying you take away the Bibles. That was a thing that happened.
Wait, Thomas Jefferson never said that or anything. It's like,
right.
yeah.
It's
Right,
all rhetoric and all scare tactics. This is what I was saying. I criticize the left and the right today. The things that Biden has said is not much better than things that Trump has been saying. This is why I'm a centrist. I don't like either party. I don't like either candidate. If this is the best America has to offer, we're so screwed 6 ways a Sunday that, I mean, no matter what happens, I don't think this country can take another 4 years of Trump. We barely made it through the first time. We definitely can't take another 4 years of Biden as well. So something's got to give here.
That's not true, though, Steve. We'll have another election in 2028. I've heard this doomsday story.
Well, I'm not saying
since
doom, but
1980. My dad was screaming at the television.
we'll make it through. I get it. I understand.
Survive 4 more years of Carter. Well, maybe we wouldn't have. Maybe we wouldn't have survived.
I remember Jimmy Carter. I remember the gas lines. We had odd and even days where you had to go get gas on even days, and then if your license plate ended in an even number, you got gas on even days, and it was under $1 too.
And the price of bread, get this, and people might be shocked because you can go get bread sometimes now for the same price. My dad was screaming at the screen. Price of bread was $1. I just went to bought bread for $1.50.
Yeah, I still get my bread from my book.
Yeah, but this was in 1980. A loaf of bread was $1.
John
Foley. Oh man,
John
this is a party tonight.
Hello. How's it, my man? How you doing, bro?
Party, man.
John.
This is where all the cool people hang out.
Isn't it just?
Yeah, we even got an Englishman.
We got Josh,
Why are you giving up?
Oz, me, and Steve. Holy
So I understand things are going to shit in the foreign colonies.
Yeah, you've been paying attention and stuff, but I mean, again, I wasn't going to crap on Destiny. Even when I did the show this morning with the silence one on non sequitur, my goal was not to trash Destiny, and was I not steel manning what was going on? I wasn't trying to read more into it, and I was giving the benefit of the doubt, wasn't I?
You were given so many benefits of the doubt, and then that space happened that he foolishly decided to stream
That was a
out.
bad mistake.
Here's the thing:
he's already lost 2,000 people on YouTube today. They're mortified. So
and now his numbers are going back up because a lot of people buy into his crap.
On Twitter, they are. Not on YouTube so far. It looks like.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt did delete that one tweet where he said Alex Jones was.
Right.
I respect that. At least he deleted it.
So how many guys in the audience there have been following this?
Well, once I heard about it, because I'm involved in the stupid.
They do.
But I'm wondering about the audience. But this says they do that because they know the visceral reaction, vitriol reaction it gets out of people. So when you hear Trump's name, they all correlate to that feeling. It literally changes the neural pathways in your brain as well. Yeah, we were actually talking about PD yesterday. Yeah, we were actually talking about it because again, I've never been a person who really buys into Trump derangement syndrome as an actual psychological condition worthy of the DSM-5 or something. But witnessing what I've saw over the last couple of days, it does describe a few people. There is no doubt in my mind about that.
TLDR, what did Destiny say? It was pretty much ad hominem after ad hominem after ad hominem. Every single time that you had a point, every time that every conservative or right-leaning person in the space who really wanted to hear this person for who he was had a counter to a point, he would either talk them down, claim that it was his space even though it wasn't his space, or just insult them and completely change the point, try to change the whole point of the conversation, which nobody would let him do. And so because nobody would let him do that, he was absolutely. Yeah,
it was basically was basically the Hillary Clinton basket of deplorables thing on repeat and dialed up to 11.
What are you going to do about gun control? Well, we should have a woman president. What?
I like turtles. He's like, I like turtles. No, I mean, but it was bizarre. He wasn't answering anything. And
I don't think bedazzling AR-15s is going to make them any less dangerous, to be honest.
But Destiny's a degenerate in this story.
Well, he's just an unempathetic asshole, is what he is. I mean,
yes.
He can hate Trump all he wants,
Sure.
but to say that he's happy that somebody took a shot or something like that, or more importantly, he was literally upset that the guy missed, and he was telling people on Twitter, oh, he should have aimed better, or had lessons, or whatever the hell he was specifically saying. I put it on my brain, to be honest with you, but it was disgusting.
Yeah, the disgusting thing about that is that he didn't fucking miss.
Yeah,
sorry, I should stop. Sorry, I mean, there's some poor guy who had his head taken off with his family stood next to him. There's two other people that are in hospital.
Destiny had no consideration for the guy's life, but there was no chance.
The Destiny had no consideration for the guy, and worse than that, he was just defaming the guy. He was just crapping over this guy that was trying to protect his family. Look, you don't have to agree with his political orientation, but the dude who was a fighter, who was a hero to anyone, he was protecting his family when he was shot by a domestic terrorist. There is nothing on this planet that makes that okay. Nothing to say the things that Destiny said about this guy.
But
nothing. There's no coming back from him in this.
But Steve, he tweeted that if he had to save Putin or Biden, he would save Putin. Come on, Steve. That makes sense.
I know what you're talking about. So what he's referring to, the firefighter there was killed. There was a
meme image.
There was a meme that had Putin, Clinton, Hillary Clinton,
and AOC.
Biden, and who was it? AOC.
It was Hillary Clinton, Biden, and AOC, and Putin. Putin was in the bottom right. That's all I really remember the image.
Yeah, and
those were the four people.
The question said, "Who would you save?"
Putin.
And he said, "Putin, 100%." Look, I don't know what his context was, and I don't know. Maybe he didn't want to start World War II. I have no idea. Or three. I'm sorry. I don't know what his reasoning was, but it's absolutely irrelevant because Destiny used that particular tweet where he said Putin 100% to say that this guy basically was deserving to die.
And to kind of get into what Oz was going for, you need to understand, when it comes to politics, there are, and I hate repeating this, but for some reason I have to keep repeating shit that's correct. There are two separate justice systems in the United States right now. There are two separate justice. If you are not on the side of what people deem is absolutely just, regardless of how inhumane it is, guess what? You're the bad guy. And that's pretty much what we got out of Destiny. If you are a conservative or you support Trump, who was someone who definitely didn't tell his followers to back off on January 6th, then you are part of the problem.
My God, that was his biggest issue, wasn't it? You're not even joking.
One of his biggest issues.
By far, his biggest issue.
I was really hoping that I would get a chance to be talking in that, because the one thing I wanted to ask him, how many people died in Jan 6? How many people died? I want to know. What was the death count? Because to me, there was one. There were people that
there was one. That's right. The woman that got shot
afterwards.
Yeah, they killed one of them.
Yeah. Well, the unarmed woman was shot by the Capitol Police.
Right.
Now the circumstances of that have been really up in the air. The thing that concerns me about all of this is we're now in a situation where we've got the right that are claiming that the assassination is the fault of people on the left and their rhetoric, and then we've also got the left saying that Jan 6 was the responsibility of the right and their rhetoric, and then there's me sat in the middle going, am I the only one that's actually responsible for my actions? Do I get to blame somebody else for what I do based on what they said several weeks, days, or months ago? Like, I'm responsible for my actions. I assume everybody else is responsible for their actions. I don't pick up a gun or a half brick and go and riot and have at people and trash private property, all because some dickhead over here is saying X, Y, or Z. So why the bloody hell is everybody else?
I don't know.
Why is everybody else apparently like wet clay and so impressionable, it can be steered by the nose.
I'm really excited about it.
Let me read this comment because this comment is brilliant. Welcome, I don't recognize the name, but welcome. He says, Destiny spent the last 3 years trying to convert Trump supporters. He failed. Then yesterday, he saw the photo op and cemented in his mind 100% loss, and then it came all crashing down. I think you're right, dude. I hate to say it, but I think you are absolutely correct that when Trump stood up in defiance, whether you hate the guy, love the guy, it doesn't matter. He came across as a freaking almost like a god figure to these people, like a martyr of some kind. It was iconic. Those 3 or 4 snap pictures at that time will be on magazines and historical record for forever.
It overshadowed the mug shot, and they owned the mug shot. Like the
way overshadowed the mug shot. The mug shot's nothing compared to this. Those photos are going to be far more valuable.
And the mug shot is owned as like a badge of honor, because they don't take the. This is like, dude, they don't get it. Like, the acting like a man-child, like Destiny's doing, like these people have been doing since Trump got elected in 2016, has just elevated Trump. They should have just said, "Oh, we lost. We didn't do well enough in the battleground states. We pretended like Clinton was winning because in the national poll she was ahead by a couple points, and we pretended like that was going to translate over to the battleground states, even though I was telling everybody, no, look at the battleground state polls. All the battleground state polls show today Trump is leading in all the battleground states.
He's sort of ahead.
Do you know what I think? Do you know where I think a lot of this comes from now is the Democrats are in a situation where they're looking at Biden. They acknowledge the fact that he has the neurological signature of a baked potato. He's and then looking at Trump, who he's just had a chunk of his ear shot off. He's fighting off the Secret Service who are trying to save his life because there are people fucking shooting at him. He's fighting them off. He's standing up at a stage. He's fist pumping the crowd, screaming, "Fight, fight, fight." He rips people to shreds in debates. It's envy. It's jealousy. They're like, where the hell is our Democrat leader that is like this guy? Where is our light?
It's apples and oranges. One's vigorous. The other one looks like he doesn't always.
Let's put it in context, though. Let's put it in context. The audio said, he was being held down. The audio said, shoot her down. Then Trump says, let me up.
No, true, but you don't know if there's more.
He was obviously in shock.
You don't know if there's more. They've shot the shoot because he revealed his position by shooting aggressively. You don't know if there's any more.
Yeah, that's true. Exactly. So real quick. So apparently the Young Turks gave Trump respect for that. I give him props for that. Look.
Yeah, that takes a lot.
That takes a lot. It really does. I mean, because they're not they're not fans of Trump. But anybody in the right mind should be able to go, hey, look, I cannot stand Trump if they hate his guts, but holy crap, what he did, you cannot take that away from the man. You just can't. I'm sorry. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a fan of Trump, but he brilliantly navigated a horrific tragedy and came out on top and solidified his presidency because there's no way he can lose now.
Even his response to it, like his first message on Truth Social.
I'm gonna
but
basically you missed.
I'm gonna bell after this one.
But what I mean is, even his message on, like, normally, like, the narcissist Trump would be sort of, it would be all about, F you, come at me, you can't stop me, we're going to win, etc., etc., etc. But even very much like his debate performance, his message on Truth Social was very quite contrite. It was very much sort of my most important thing. I'm so sorry for the people that were injured and killed, And then it was the end of the message where he spoke about himself. That's like very the opposite of how Trump normally is. And again, on the debate stage with Biden recently, He basically
God. We have a
just
special
let
guest.
Biden. He didn't just let Biden run over the edge of the cliff, and he just made sure not to follow him.
All right, real quick, quiet. We have a special guest. Let me read this real quick, then we'll get to the special guest. Jim says this meltdown makes Boogie faking cancer look like charity work, which might actually be ironic because even though Boogie may have faked his cancer, he might have actually still had cancer later, and he didn't even know it, which would be the weirdest thing ever if that's true. I didn't even know what to make the whole Boogie thing, man. That was weird. But anyways, we have a special guest here, Mr. Chris from Hereticals.
Hey, how are you?
Duh.
What the hell are you guys doing over in that funny country of yours?
Dude, I want to move. I want to go to the United States. I'm out.
I promise you,
done.
Things are more normal on the East Coast, Steve.
I was just about to invite.
We need you guys to have a nice sort of stability for us over here.
I haven't. Have you been? So, Chris, were you paying attention to what happened to Destiny today? Because holy God Almighty, it has. I've never seen a man trash credibility so quickly like that.
He's got some issues at the moment. I think his credibility's been shot. He lost a ton of his hard left audience. Recently,
a lot,
and
he's alienated every big creator on YouTube.
Clout chasing. He is clout chasing.
Who's Clout? There's nobody that will even work with him. There was 5,000 people in that space, and they all had 250,000 subs on Twitter at least. There was a congressman in there. Elon Musk.
Because guess what?
Paying attention.
What are we doing? We're all talking about him. Who's talking about Destiny?
That's short. That's a short term. But that's a short. Oh, people talk about Destiny all the time. That's a short term bump. Like the overall loss that he's going to have from this.
I didn't say it was a smart move. I didn't say it was a smart move. But it's clout chasing. He's absolutely clout. Because I mean, look, I've heard him speak plenty of times, and I definitely disagree with 99% of the stuff he says. But he's not an idiot. I mean, let's be honest. He's not.
This is true. He's extremely intelligent, but he has personal stuff going on. There's drugs and other stuff going on. But
Chris and Steve,
hang on one sec. Chris, I think is it possible, and I'll get you guys' opinion on this, that he may have started this off as a troll because he loathes Trump and all that, but it just got away from him.
Possibly,
because we know he's a contrarian.
It is quite possible. I could see a world where
it's not like totally impossible, is it, guys? I mean, you guys, my audience, they know totally better than I do because I only talked to him a handful of times, but I don't really watch his stuff.
I feel like based on what we heard earlier today, Jimmy's most definitely lying about it. Yeah, okay. I mean,
no, I think he's talking about Boogie. No, he's talking about Boogie's cancer.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But when it comes down to what we saw earlier today, he wouldn't have gone earlier. He said, "I'm not." Oh, to be. It was something along the line. I can't quote it word verbatim, but he said, "Oh, I'm not going to join some sort of conservative space where anybody can put a mute button on me." And when it comes down to Destiny's attitude in that space, where he talked to the hostess before she started it, there were rules established between the two. What they were, I don't know, but he accepted those terms. He went into that space and he made a total ass of himself.
It was bad. It was bad. I mean, I don't know if Logical Kyle was in there.
There's no way he was completely trolling.
This was not trolling. I mean, he was. I mean, his voice was visceral.
And let's take Logic Kyle's arguments' statement here. What if Destiny was completely trolling? What if he went into a space where he felt as though there is no way in heck any of these right-wingers are going to take me seriously in any way, shape, or form? I'm going to be an ass to them and make them think my way. Well, you have a bunch of people who wanted to hear you curiously to see who you were, and you totally shat on that.
Yeah, I mean, he might lose his monetization.
He will lose his monetization. Elon Musk ain't back anymore.
Yeah, Elon Musk already said he's going to lose.
So he is going to lose on X. I don't know how many. I know he's got a pretty good.
I'd actually be pretty surprised if Elon Musk did that.
I would be surprised too.
I would be surprised if
the one you disagree with.
Hang on, Chris. I'd be more surprised that Elon would follow through with anything that he said he was going to do. So, yeah, I mean, come on. Where's my edit feature for comments, not post? Where's my edit feature for that?
I have a bell.
No, I don't want to. Give me a bell. I'll take the bell. I'm okay with. Ding, ding. There you go.
I think I said earlier, Steve and Chris, in relation to what you've just said, or said a few minutes ago. I actually said earlier in another hangout with Steve that Destiny is because I'm slightly right of centre. Destiny is my sort of one of the content creators that I go to sort of check myself. I use him as sort of like my bellwether to see if I've gone completely off the rails. I try and make sure that I don't just listen to central sources or right-wing sources. He's one of the ones that I go to because I always deemed him to be, even if I didn't agree with him, he at least seemed rational and, generally speaking, had at least attempted to research the things that he was talking about. I think he has trying to been caught a more centrist position, and trying to even bring people who are such as myself, who are even slightly on the centre right, more into his position by trying to be as reasonable as possible. So, for example, the position that he's taken on like the whole Israel situation, I find him difficult to disagree with, and don't really find myself wanting to disagree with him. He does sort of play into a lot of my biases with regards to Israel, Hamas, Gaza, etc. And I think with this, it seems like he's trying to rebalance to the left, but it's too late.
See, I'm probably in the same boat as you, John. Where I don't think I'm centre right. I'm firmly on the right. I'm a conservative through and through. But I've sort of found myself listening to some of his stuff on particularly Israel. And look, he's obviously got personal reasons that he holds a lot of those firm positions on Israel. But it sort of forced me to listen to a few more of his things. And while I disagree with most of what he says politically, I still find that he's reasonable. You can understand the point he's making, why he's making that point. With this stuff, this is just completely unhinged. I'm seeing some more stuff that's come through.
I was literally about to use the same word. It is unhinged.
Yeah. This is actually not.
That's my view.
I think I might retract my my trolling and
Chris, you and I are so in sync. We're basically wearing each other's underwear at this point. It's
you guys are better
Americans here.
Get a room.
It looks like a drug-induced rant on X.
Well, we all know that he's been indulging. That's a fact. He's admit this. He says it, and that's nothing wrong with that. I couldn't care less. But when you go into a Twitter space and you start railing on the hosts, women.
I don't imagine the situation with his wife and his kid is going to have helped him either, because obviously he's going through a divorce. He's got a 12, 13-year-old kid that I imagine there's a custody issue over and all sorts.
No, I'm sure
he's not the first person to go through a divorce. I mean,
No, I know, but what I mean is it obviously will have an effect. But
John, he knew that space. He knew that there's going to be people in that space, people with very, very big channels and a lot of pull, including Elon Musk level stuff. He knew this. He knows that he is a public figure. He knows that he has large media social influence. He knew this. He still went in there and acted the way he did, which
Steve,
again,
can I?
Yeah, what's up? Yeah, of course.
Can I say a couple things? Honestly, so I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, so I've been.
I'm sorry for that.
I've been. That was at the Farm Show Complex, which is where they do the big Butler Fair. I've been there many times.
That would be fun, actually.
I had a lot of friends and family, sadly, because I don't support Trump at all. They do. I had a lot of friends and family that were at the rally. So, to diminish the fact that, people in the crowd got killed, that kind of hurt. That hurts me a little bit too.
Yeah,
that
exactly. That
people I know, my family. So I would say that. And
that's a good point.
I was also, that area of Pennsylvania is very, very pro-Trump. So when I heard this even happen, I was really surprised because I don't live in Western Pennsylvania anymore. I'm in Central Pennsylvania, but I still.
Josh, I know. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I follow. I know a lot of people there. I go back there and stuff. So, it was surprising to me that someone even tried this there.
Good night, Logic. Logic, he's over there in the shills, isn't he? Still, I thought. Are you still over in the shills there? Say hi to them for me.
I thought the guy that took the shot at him was lived outside of Philadelphia.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. I was going to ask Josh. I know that you have no way of knowing, but do you think because it was a predominantly Trump area that the Secret
Miles
Service wasn't
from
as vigilant as they should have been, because
Possibly.
that guy was 150 yards, give or take, something in that ballpark away, facing
That is-
towards them
That
on a
is so
roof at an elevated position.
That is so
Yeah, so-
ridiculously close. I cannot
I do
It's super
I
close.
do know I do know. I've talked to people who were there, and so he was on. It was a roof that had a pitch to it. It was like an A-frame roof, and what I'm hearing is they think he was on the side of the roof that they couldn't see, which I still don't understand, because I've been to this place for the fair and all kinds of stuff. And there aren't that many buildings around, so I don't understand why there weren't enough Secret Service people, or just, law enforcement in general,
One
on
of the big
areas that
things-
could.
Go on. Go on, I'm sorry.
All
Finish your
all
thought.
lines of sight
Well-
should have been covered to the president, though. So
Well,
that's
they-
sort of
they-
weird.
They should have been, and also why for the love of Christ?
Well, they should
Are
have.
the Secret
because-
Service not running? Like, just grab any tech guy. Just go to the nearest Radio Shack and grab one of the wombles from
Radio
behind the
Shack.
counter and get them to fly a bloody drone. Why the hell did they? Like, the modern technology available for surveillance these days, and they couldn't see this idiot guy who was wearing relatively light and
So,
bright coloured clothing. I don't get it. It's mad. And to be within 150 yards with an AR platform shooting 223, 3 shots in rapid succession. Trump's
They
head should
say
be
3, but
missed.
at least 8 shots were fired.
Yeah, so like I said to Steve earlier, the way that I perceive this as a person who does, so I hunt with semi-automatic rifles. So my perception of this is the first 3 shots in rapid succession. There's the first shot. Now, obviously, a 223 has got next to no recoil whatsoever. So my perception of this is the first 3 shots were directly at Trump. Then there's a pause, and then during the first shot, Trump reaches for his ear. Then as the second 2 shots are going off, he's dropping behind the podium. At this point, I think it's the case that Trump is now out of sight. He's no longer able to shoot at Trump. So the next 5 shots are just fired into the crowd, which is where the injuries and the person killed comes from.
I thought the next 5 shots were the Secret Service shooting.
So, yeah, I thought that too. They were shooting him, but there's
No, so if you listen for it, there's 3 shots, then there's 4 or 5 shots after that, all of which have the same report on them. So they all sound the same. They all sound like as much as you can tell from the video. They all sound like they're coming from the same direction.
And
then following that,
would make sense because the guy who died was protecting his daughter. So
yeah,
it would
but then following after that, there is after those eight shots, at the very end of those 8 shots, you hear one much louder sound of gunfire, single round. And then there's a couple more rounds after that, which I believe those louder shots are coming from the police or the Secret Service, because they won't have been using 223s. They'll have been using a much bigger. They'll have been using like 308s or Lepers or something like that.
Well, we talked about this earlier about his situation at home with his wife and things of that nature, leading up to because I guess look, he's in a couple, whatever.
I've got a quote for that, Steve. But I do want to hone in on what Josh was getting at. People should have been aware, law enforcement should have been aware. Here's the thing: law enforcement was told, because there was a party near the rally that were saying, "Hey, this guy's climbing a building. Hey, he's got a rifle. Hey, cops, do something." And the cops didn't bother. That's what you get in.
They didn't turn it over to the authorities.
Actually, what I was hearing was they did approach, but then when they saw he had a gun, they retreated, and then by that time, I think that's when the shots started.
Well, they see someone with a gun, they should have never let him out of sight and just.
Pennsylvania is an open carry state. You don't need a license.
Not when you're not when you're around the president. You can't.
So if he was not in the facility, you're allowed to open carry in the state of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, open carry doesn't mean you can set up a weapon and aim it. That's not open carry.
Well,
pointing a weapon at somebody is what's it called? It's called wielding or
brandishing.
Brandishing.
Brandishing. Yeah, thank you.
So if he was brandishing, that would be illegal.
Right.
But so I don't know the details. If he was brandishing, the police should have been shooting at him.
Well, so Ocean, from what I understand, there's actually video footage of people like behind the building that he was on, who are like going, "Oh my God, he's got a gun! He's got a gun!" And so that before the shots ring out.
I remember that.
Yeah, so one of the hypotheses that's floating at the moment is the reason that he missed is because he realised that he'd been spotted. He was about to be intercepted by the police, so he climbed to the ridge of the building where he was now visible to the police and the Secret Service snipers, and he cranked off these rounds in a hurry, which is essentially why he missed. Because my 8-year-old daughter could hit a super plate-sized target at 150 yards with a decent optic on a 223.
That's under 140 meters.
In
140 meters
Pennsylvania, the Stu John Jedi is wrong. In Pennsylvania, you can open carry as long you cannot conceal carry.
But he's saying it's a loaded weapon. That's what Stu John Jedi is saying you're not allowed to have a loaded weapon. You can carry, but you can't.
You are allowed to have a loaded weapon. You are allowed to open carry with a loaded weapon in Pennsylvania in public, except in a city of over 1 million population, which means the only city you're not allowed to open carry in Pennsylvania is Philadelphia, and that's it. And to conceal carry, you need a permit. That's the law in Pennsylvania.
Logical, thank you. He says, just went back to mention Destiny Debate, the shooting in with which you can be seen on the Destiny Zone channel on YouTube. So he did keep it on his channel. So thank you. I was going to check that out. So I guess he's going to leave it up. Although I don't know why he would. But I guess it doesn't matter at this point. The damage is done, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he was proud of that space. He was proud of the things he was saying. There was no contrition. There was no nothing of any sense to me that he was ever going to retract any or apologize for anything he was going to say. Nothing.
Yeah, I have a concealed carry permit for Pennsylvania too.
I had one.
I think it's one of the big problems you've got in the US at the moment is it's just so polarized and adversarial in your politics. Like I'm someone who I follow politics closely all throughout the world, and there is nowhere else quite like it in a modern Western democracy, at least. There's obviously dictatorships and whatnot, but I mean, realistically, the US is, you compare it to, say, Australia, England, Canada, we'll have our disagreements, but the thought of a political assassination is it just wouldn't pop into our heads. Whereas
I don't know, we've had two in the UK in the last decade, so.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay, that's a good point. But I think I guess the point I want to get to is there's been such a powder keg with the rhetoric in the US that how is this not going to happen? And not just necessarily from one side. I mean, either side. I mean, it could have happened from either side. There is that much hatred and that much us versus them going on, that much othering of other people over a bloody political opinion. I mean, realistically, politics, what's politics about? For the most part, it's about the economics.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Chris, you know what's pushing them? And I'm going to be blunt about this. A lot of that is pushed by gender ideology. I know people shouldn't think that this should be related. Listen to my argument why.
I think that's certainly something, but I wouldn't say that that's the driving cause.
No. Well, it's not the primary.
It's not the primary.
Not the primary. But my point is they're very militant. They're very militant. Abortion.
I'd actually say, Steve, the thing that's probably impacting it more rather than the gender ideology is things like the DEI CRT.
I was getting there.
It makes large portions of the population feel like victims when they're not.
It's critical theories. It's DEI. It's intersectionality. It is. It's basically
identity politics.
All these hang on.
Complex
it's
the vote left.
Yes, exactly. It is the people that they know that will get stirred up to violence.
Yeah,
and
it is this. Let me be clear. Let me be very clear. It started when Trump came down the escalator, he said stupid shit about Mexicans. So they started the rhetoric with saying Trump hates Mexicans and he wants to put them in cages.
Yeah, they did a number on some of the news stuff on that.
Trump is racist. Trump is fascist. Trump is equivalent to Hitler. Republicans are equivalent to Nazis. Democrats are equivalent to socialists. Democrats are equivalent to communists. But to go back to what Chris says, we don't have a problem. We have had 2 political assassination attempts in the United States. We do not know the motive for this particular one. The person that attempted to kill Trump was, in fact, a registered Republican. He did, in fact, when he was 17, donate a entire whopping $15 to a progressive PAC. So whether he was a left or a right wing, we do not know yet. The previous attempted assassination to a political presidential candidate was Reagan in 1981, and Reagan was probably as vilified as Trump was.
And I like Reagan.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
And we just forget it because we think through the present lens we have today. But I remember the hatred.
Oh, they were not fans of Reagan. I actually liked Reagan a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not even, dude. I don't know if you know this, but I named my daughter after Ronald Reagan.
Huh. Well, I'm not even joking. I'm glad Oz brought that up though, because Ronald Reagan.
You named your daughter Ronald?
Yeah, Ronald. I really wanted a boy, man. Okay. She has never forgiven me since.
After the assassination attempt on Reagan, what happened? All but Minnesota was red. All but Minnesota was red. Guess what's happening now?
It's all red.
There's an assassination attempt on Trump, who has been constantly getting blasted by Dems, and every single time he's gotten blasted by the left, guess what? The guy's gotten more popular. After the 34 convictions came down, $53.8 million donated to the Trump campaign. After he almost gets assassinated, $3.5 million donated to the victims of the assassination attempt. The man keeps winning because the man constantly has people gunning for him.
I want to. He was the Republican. Sorry,
I want to get back to Chris real quick, because Chris had a great point. What is it about politics that's causing someone to have this kind of hatred towards somebody? Look, I'm not a fan of people's politics, but I'm not motivated to even get upset by it if somebody's voted into office that I don't agree with their politics. I'm like, okay, whatever. It doesn't affect me viscerally. What is it about these people that think that being a domestic terrorist and having a attempted assassination is the way you go about something if you disagree with somebody politically, that completely usurps the democratic process? What, Chris, do you think it politically is the ideological movement, the prime mover of what makes somebody so deranged like that?
I think that there's such a desire to hold on to power or to gain power that they put out these false narratives, that there's very much an othering of the other side. The comparison of saying that Trump is like Hitler, or that they're like the Nazis, that is mind-boggling to me. I'm a historian. That's what I do, and I can tell you I have studied extensively the Second World War and the lead up to it, and there's no comparison. But there's no comparison. I mean, Trump says a few things off cuff that I think are taken out of context, and then they blow them out to as if it's some deranged. He's going to, there's going to be a bloodbath, when he's talking about an economic bloodbath and things like that.
So they literally think there's going to be existential consequences.
And look, he won in 2016, and I've got to tell you, the US did pretty damn well when he was the president. And I can tell you, because I used to have a business that imported from the US, and my costs went through the roof because your dollar was so good, and there was such a push to have local businesses in the US supplying instead of me supplying as a wholesaler. So,
have 6 year olds in China manufacture instead.
And if we get Trump back, think of all the 4 years of gaffes. It's going to be Saturday Night Live is going to have material for another 4 years.
Chris, so quick question. So obviously, like with regards to what you're saying in terms of the otherization of the opposing sides, both left and right both do it. They're both guilty of it.
Absolutely.
But like it is, I'm 39 years old, soon to be 40, more's the pity. And I remember as a kid, like we had 4 TV channels, not the infinite number of TV channels that we have now. News was every like 4 to 6 hours at particular time slots, unless there was something particularly important happening where you'd have a breaking news story. Whereas now we're in this 24-hour news cycle, social media, like all of these, we've got a perfect environment for generating like closed circles where people's beliefs are reinforced. And then also on top of that, we seem to have taken, like, we're in a world now that takes mental health and puts it on a pedestal, and like people with mental health conditions, oh no, you don't have a mental health problem, you're neurodivergent, you're just different, you're not a nutter, so we're enabling all of these things, we're reinforcing people's beliefs, where everybody's in their own massive echo chambers, and then you chuck a load of firearms and a political lightning rod into that. I'm amazed this doesn't happen more often. I mean, would you agree with that?
Well, I think so. What you've got to remember is humans as a species, we're tribal. Now, like you said, we're of a similar age. I've got a couple of years on you. But, I remember it was the 6 o'clock news, and you know what? If you lived in a neighbourhood with people who had a different opinion to you, well, you engage with them because that was your tribe. Now what happens is... Or
you didn't even discuss it because it used to be considered rude to ask who you used to vote for. Like in the same way as like if somebody bought a new car and you asked them how much it cost, that was rude. If you're talking to a neighbour and you go, "Oh, who did you vote for?" that would be considered rude because you're putting them on the spot. Now it's just normal.
Yeah, and especially from behind a computer where you don't have that face-to-face interaction, people are a lot bolder, but they also find people who have the same opinion of them as them, which they wouldn't have been able to find, sort of 20 years ago, 30 years ago, because you had to socialize with the people who were around you. Whereas now, I mean, here we are all in different parts of the earth, and we can interact with each other live, and we do that all day, every day. So it's amazing how quickly it's become normalized, and I think we're still trying to work out how we deal with that. And I think in another generation, I think it will look very different. I think there'll be a bit of a calming down of things, but I think for the moment, there's powder kegs out there, and when you're surrounded by people, if you think that Trump is the devil and the worst person ever, and you can jump on and you can find 50,000 people who will all say yes and give you praise and credit and likes, and sort of get that all the excitement flowing through you, then it's going to. Yeah, sorry.
So no, I was just going to say. So, do you think there are fundamentally sort of different types of people that can be put into 2 separate groups? So, for example, Ozin and I, we've interacted a few times now, and I can tell you now, and I'm sure probably Ozin will agree with this, that we probably, as much as we agree on some things, we probably disagree on quite a lot.
I agree with one thing right now I wanted to tell you, but...
But you and I aren't hurling half bricks and invectives at one another. So how come we can have a civil conversation, but there are so many people that bloody can't?
IQ of above
because you're sensible adults,
probably. But I just wanted to say, like, let's take Trump in particular. You got people, I would say, that are not the most rational adults in the world that say Trump is the devil. And they may not actually believe in the devil, but they say Trump is equivalent to the devil.
Yeah.
And then you have people that are not the most rational people out there thinking that Trump is the second coming of Jesus.
But you know what? That's probably about 5% on each side, and then you've got the other 90% in the middle who are just normal people who go one way or the other in politics. Unfortunately, it's that 5% who tend to be the loudest, and the bots on Twitter tend to promote.
I'll even throw a bit of a devil's advocate thing in the mix. Go on, Oz. Go do your...
Well, yeah, anyways, I just wanted to say being neurodivergent isn't a mental disorder. It's
no,
it's not.
Well, you see, like, and we've gotten good points from like Chris, John, Oz, as far as the personalities of people and separating into this sort of dichotomy between left and right. I think the deciding factor as far as who these people go after is the second someone says, well, I'm going to vote Republican. What? You're going to vote anti-pride, you're going to take away abortions for women. You're going to try to lower our taxes just so people can't afford things that they can't normally afford. Now, how dare you? Okay, I'm going to vote Democrat. What? You're going to vote Democrat? You're going to vote for baby slaughter and taking Bibles out of schools and replacing with it's all of the fervor surrounding whatever your vote is.
I've always voted libertarian, so I get shit from both sides.
But they've had that. They've always had that in politics. You know, you're gonna, you know, the price of a turkey in your pot is going to go up, you know, 15 cents.
To such a degree because of the rhetoric being thrown from both sides. It's heightened to such a degree. Like I scrolling through X just now while listening to everybody. I just saw an image of Joe Biden, and there are certain words highlighted. Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans are a threat, greatest threat, genuine threat, threat to our democracy. Trump poses many threats, greatest threat, we lose everything. When you appeal to these guys saying, well, if you vote for them, things are going to be worse, then that makes you vote for the people that are saying that the other guy's worse. That's exactly
what does that say for people today? 50 years ago, if you were saying somebody was a threat to democracy, it would be like the Red Scare, right? Mm-hmm. You know, it was the McCarthyism type thing. Now you say they're a threat to democracy, and somebody's going to go, "Oh my God, I have to take up arms to protect the country."
Yeah, because
they did that, Steve. They locked people up. They put them in prison 50 years ago.
Well, but I'm telling you, I am convinced we have more mentally unwell people now than ever.
Well, because we locked them up then.
Especially after the pandemic.
We locked them up for being gay 50 years ago. I mean, literally.
Yeah, and that
was pandemic messed people up.
Let me say that
it's a little bit more than 50 years ago. I think it's more like 70 years ago.
No, in the 70s, you locked my mom up.
Okay, so 60 years ago, because it's 2024.
I'm not 60 years old. What are you talking about?
60. Yeah.
I'm not 60 years old. I was born in the 70s.
Sorry, buddy.
Dang it.
I think I'm the kid here. Unless Josh is younger than I am.
40-some years ago.
Oh, let me tell you, this is an absolute truism here. That's absolutely. You know what? It's not even just the internet. It's. Well, no, actually, it is all the internet. Even the good stuff of the internet. You know?
My dad was. Now you can say my dad had some anger issues. Okay, fine. He did. My dad was screaming in livid anger at the stupid television, and the television was answering back. You know, I guess. But the television. About Jimmy Carter during the 1980s election.
By the way, I have the clip of when he rage quit. You guys want to hear it?
Oh, definitely, sure.
Oh, that would be amazing. And that would actually get us right back around circle.
I got a palate cleanser if you want it too.
I'm actually going to have to run in a second, so I'll just quickly say thanks, everyone. Been good meeting most of you.
Yeah, good seeing you again, bro.
And I guess what I will say is, you know what? People can disagree, and that's fine. I think the best conversations we have are with people who politically we disagree with, because I think it's important to understand why people have the opinion they do, not necessarily to change your mind, but so you can at least understand and appreciate where they're coming from, because takes all different types. Me and Steve, I mean,
I love that about you. You're not even American, yet I know that you're educated in it, you're articulate, and I've listened when you've argued with me about things that we just don't agree with, and I've usually pretty much almost most of the time came to your side.
Hell, that's because I was right and Steve was wrong.
Well, I no. Okay, wait. No,
there's a reason we call it the right of politics.
Steve needs coaxing to get. He needs intelligent conversation and evidence from people that are not idiots. And unfortunately, the only friends I have right now that aren't idiots. So.
Are you saying that I think, as an older Steve, need to be sure that the younger Steve gets the right information for his own?
I think, Chris, I think what you've just said has fallen on deaf ears as far as Steve's concerned. Because in the last stream, I corrected him twice, and he threatened to ban me. So.
He'll do that a couple of times. It's a great time.
Cursed your family for 20 generations. All right, let's listen to this. And Chris has got to go. So, thank you, Chris. Did you
thank you very much, Chris.
I'll catch you all later. Thanks for having me.
Think about it. All right,
in relation to what Chris just said, I think the thing is as well, like everybody in this chat and a lot of the people that we all interact with don't feel the need to resort to violence and invectives and threatening language because there's actually something going on in our grey matter, and we have the ability to discuss and articulate our ideas and our differences. And as long as we have the capacity to discuss these things, talk about these things in a reasonable manner, there's no reason to pick up a bat and bludgeon someone.
This is a group of people right here. Seriously,
John,
I had a beautiful
humanity and barbarism, tribalism. That is the difference between that we have these days, especially when it comes down to thinking of our fellow man as our fellow man, not just someone on that side of the line.
Right.
I had a beautiful 2-hour conversation, interview, I would call it more so, discussion with a young Earth creationist called Peter Markley on my channel Matters Now today. And I spent 2 hours. I pressed him a little bit towards the end, but I thought it was a wonderful conversation, and he walked away thanking me for giving him the space and giving him time to recover from my questions. So I thought it was a great time.
I love your content, Adrian. I've been watching quite a lot of it recently. I really like it. It's good.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been promoting it too. All right, let's listen to this real quick. So if you guys can hear it, let me know.
This is good stuff, guys.
Totally normal and acceptable according to you because he delayed his.
It's not very loud, is it?
On January 6th. Just want to make sure we're 100%.
Can you guys hear that? It's because it's not very loud.
It's not very
some
loud.
People they'll eat like the whole Oreo,
it's
and then
good.
sometimes they twist them and then they like eat the frosting first because everybody has like their own process. I'm curious for you. Do you like suck out like the blue parts of the Tide Pods first, or do you eat the whole thing in one bite when you're chowing down on them every night? I've got to know. Is it the whole Tide Pod, or do you do it part by part? Do you put out like 10 of them and eat the white part like in all 10 of them and then eat the rest of it? Or what a retarded fucking summary of everything that I fucking said. Yeah, you sound like a fucking extra in My Cousin Vinny, okay? Thanks for the input, okay? I'm done.
Okay, so let me point out what happened, because we were actually in the space when this happened, so we weren't seeing him articulate and gesticulate and whatever, but he was being asked, why do you think it's okay to mock somebody who was a firefighter who died on American soil from an assassination attempt on the president of the United States by protecting his family? What makes you think it's acceptable to mock somebody like that? And that's when he said what he said.
Yep. And this is why I say like the vitriol that's coming through him, it's not an act. I mean, you all saw the chat on the left. Combo. That's a bot. Okay, that's several users using the same emote again and again, and then the bot is repeating it whenever several users in a row use the same emote. It's a way that they can engage conversation. If the chat's moving fast, then a lot of idiots will. It's I hate to put it this way, but it's movement porn. That's exactly what it is. It's put it on the screen. Ooh, it's moving really fast. Ooh, I'm stupid enough to keep watching without really paying attention to what it is, and that's how he's gotten a lot of his following, and keeps a lot of his following, because they're saying, well, now I'm paying attention. Oh, he's right. So he must have been right these last half an hour. Yeah, it's mind-boggling how low density these people are when it comes down to
they're pretty
accurate information being put out there, and analyzing ad hominems as gotcha. It's ridiculous.
Well,
and that's why I'm saying he was not acting that out.
How long have I tried to explain ad hominem, or informal fallacies correctly?
Right.
And a lot of people don't understand what he was doing was it was more along the lines of invective, But it was brutal the way he treated this woman that was asking this question. I felt bad for her. I did.
Also, he what he did there was he wasn't just reacting like instinctively. That was a thought through attack, because he started off talking. Yeah, because he started off talking about sort of Oreos, and where I'd not heard that clip before. So my thinking on this was, is he going to ask her a question about, like, you know, how some people eat the Oreo whole and some people twist it and take it? I thought he was going to ask her sort of like, how do you process this? Like, I approach information this way. How do you approach information in a different way? But he goes into the. So he was leading up to this in sort of. He's sort of like rope-a-doped, you know. He's sort of leading up into sort of like oh, this might actually be a legitimate question here, to then right at the end start deviating into the kid eating Tide Pods
back on her.
Yeah, exactly. But also, do you know, where did we fall, Steve, on the all I see here is Pennsylvania up +1 for Biden? Where did we fall on what?
It was I think that it was him saying that it was just one more vote for Biden is one less vote for Trump.
It was a response to the blood of the person who died.
Right.
Yeah. That because obviously the discussion that we were having before was that your initial interpretation of that he was saying it's up +1% in.
I was thinking votes. Yeah, I was thinking. I really did think that. And call me call me stupid, whatever. But
no, it's not, because you wouldn't expect. It's not. It's not human.
Yeah.
My
mind doesn't think that way. My mind did not think that way.
He's a degenerate. So if he was, this is. John, I am going to steal, man, what you said. Like, if I was Steve approaching it from the Oreo analogy, I would have said, you know what? Let's take it in layers. When I was making that comment about the Putin theme, I was trying to make like a silly analogy to say, look how depraved this Trump voter is. He would save the life of the deplorable Putin. And I was trying to make an analogy to say, this was really not the greatest person in the world. Now, his family doesn't really deserve the disrespect I did on social media, and I apologize to his family. But I was trying to make a public statement about the characters of the people that vote for Trump. Now, and the people who vote for Trump support dictators like Putin does. So, like an Oreo, I'm trying to show the layers of
you
my
think Destiny would be creative enough to say something like that?
No, he's an idiot. But
right.
So I was trying to show the layers of my
right, sure.
And
if any responsible person, absolutely. But
and with that argument, I would have made a sooner argument like, wow, you choose the Russian over the 3 Americans. That would have been more poignant in this case, because an American was shot. That would have been the smart way to do it. But as we just saw, he pretty much throws out there any insults to make his way.
So he chose Putin as the person to save out.
Right? As opposed to AOC, Hillary Clinton.
So I can steel man that decision. As Asians just steel man the Oreo thing. I can steel man that. It's like Putin is an authoritarian dictator, and he is causing havoc on the European continent, specifically in Ukraine right now. But there are a load of people lined up behind him who are potential leaders, who are actually even more authoritarian and expansionist than Putin is. If we eliminate Putin, then that could cause a global conflict. Eliminating some random American is not going to cause a global conflict. Therefore, I'm going to save the person that's going to provide the most, I perceive to be providing the most stability to the world. Even though he's an evil person, eliminating that evil person actually is. So that, I mean,
that's why Trump wasn't assassinated when his VP was Pence, because Pence would have been worse.
Well, let's hope nobody takes a shot at Biden. Otherwise, we're going to end up.
Can I bring? I want to side. Can I derail this to Biden a little bit? Can I derail a little bit? Biden.
I got no problem with that, Steve.
Okay, Steve.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the NATO. I'm not going to make fun of his NATO summit interview too much. But in that NATO summit interview, in his 5-minute rambling speech he gave, it wasn't rambling. It was actually not that good, even though he was stammering a bit. It wasn't Okay, I'm not. I was making fun of him. I said I wouldn't. Okay, in that speech, that was actually not bad. He said that the U.S. knew, and we sort of did know that they were moving troops to the border, and that they were probably going to invade Ukraine. That he knew, and he just was going to let it happen anyways. Like, how's that the big, powerful leader that knew that Russia was going to invade Ukraine and just let it happen anyways? That's him bragging.
My takeaway from that wasn't that where he introduced Zelensky as Putin?
Well, that was part of the interview.
Yeah, that's all. That's the only takeaway from that.
That was a follow-up question after they asked him about his VP, and then he called his VP Donald Trump.
Yeah, high flying mom.
So,
can I read this one? That's great.
Go for it.
I think it is the lack of actually listening and accepting alternative realities that are a big problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's also a lot of entitlement too.
I'm not sure I follow the alternative reality thing. There's one reality. There's different perceptions.
So there's one reality, but how, as far as morality is concerned, it's perceiving what reality we're going to end up at.
Listen.
So wait, hang on. So this guy says, imagine getting triggered because destiny is politically correct. I'm politically correct. I am probably the most politically. I'm the anti.
Can we just slaunt whoever this person is? Imagine getting triggered because destiny is politically correct enough about the poor wannabe dictator getting shot. Snowflakes. Yeah. Let's set aside the fact that somebody was shooting at a political candidate rather than attacking the political candidate's positions. What about the poor bastard who was shielding his family, who had his brains rearranged in front of his daughters? Slon, I have no moments of hesitation in telling you to just go fuck yourself and chuck yourself into a grinder.
Well, I'd like to answer the question, Slont. I mean, what is it about the fact that an innocent person died shielding their family, an American hero that was a firefighter, and you think it's all fine and dandy because some poor wannabe dictator got shot?
If you think about it, Trump and I hate being this dark, but bear with me. I mean, it'll make a lot of sense after I say it. This could have been a lot darker than just 3 Americans other than Trump getting hit. If the shooter only cared about reducing Republican votes, what is to say he's just sprayed an automatic weapon into a crowd full of Trump supporters?
He could have started throwing hand grenades or something.
Exactly. It could have been a lot worse than what it was. And okay, it's not good. It's not good, but it can always be worse. And so the idea that destiny is politically correct about the quote poor wannabe dictator, he's not. He's politically correct from his fan base's side, but in order to be that politically correct, he has to completely ignore the others that were involved in the shooting and focus on the giant orange traffic cone.
You know what I hate about shit like this? I just want to rant. I hate shit like this because I'm on the right side of all these issues, whether it's the left that's attacked on stuff like this or the right that's attacked stuff like this. And every time I stand up for what's correct, I get attacked by the right-wing assholes or the left-wing assholes that think political violence is justified. Slont, you're wrong.
If destiny is politically correct,
I don't think destiny is politically correct.
I am.
I think they're.
I don't want anything to do with it.
Hang on. Jim makes a valid point here. Trump was POTUS for 4 years. In that time, he did not change anything to change the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. The only thing that I will criticize him for is that he did not have a successfully quick transition of power. Every president that has left the White House has always had a very quick turnover of power. That's part of the process. He was the only one that didn't respect that process.
He should have done more to de-escalate January 6th. He should have taken more advice from his advisors. I totally agree.
Well, they covered that towards the end of the space. They did cover that right after Destiny left, if you remember, Steve.
Yes,
they did recover that. And the response time of Trump was significantly faster than Biden's response time to Trump just nearly got assassinated. Biden took, I think the time was like an hour and 18 minutes to even post about it online. And Trump's response time, as far as the Jan 6th thing happening, was 38 minutes, not even an hour. So he did respond to it, but here's where a lot of left-wingers get it wrong. They say Trump said nothing and encouraged the January. He encouraged people to raise their voices and protest. It was a bunch of the bad actors that moved in on it. And when he said to go home, protest peacefully, raise their voices, only
tweets that Twitter removed, by the way. Huh? Those are the tweets that Twitter removed as well.
There's the tweets, and there's also the official statement he made on Fox News back when that was entirely right wing. On Fox News that was broadcast, where he outright said that he did not condone any violence that happened on January 6th and encouraged that his followers just go back home. Because
march to the Capitol peacefully and make your voices heard.
Exactly.
You can't.
Words. So,
this is a good question here. Go ahead.
I'll just end it right here. So that's why a lot of facts are ignored by speakers like Destiny, because they have a certain political background, and that needs to stay tight. Otherwise, any naysayer could drop their views like crazy.
Well, also, I don't remember Trump weaponizing OSHA in order to force vaccines down the throats of 80 million Americans, whether they wanted it or not.
Well, let me read this question.
That was Biden.
So my A-Buy says, question, does Destiny get removed from multiple platforms as some right-wingers are begging for it? My opinion on this, no. I do not think that he should be removed from any platform. However, I don't think that he should be profiting off tragedy and exploiting it and condemning heroes. That, to me, is unethical.
It is.
But hang on. But that's not my decision whether he gets demonetized or not. But do I think he should be removed from platforms? Absolutely not. He has every right to say what he said, but be vile and disgusting. But the thing is what Mobius said right here. Destiny's mask fell off. It's not going back on ever. People know his real views now.
If he's violating the terms of service that he agreed to on those platforms to be monetized, he shouldn't be monetized. Are
you cutting in and out for anybody else or just me?
Yeah, you're cutting in and out a little bit there, Oz.
Like a lot.
I agree with you, Oz. If he's breaking the TOS on those platforms,
I want to address this one. Isn't the panel profiting this too? Indirectly, but the thing is I didn't even want to go live tonight. It was the Silence one.
Yeah, hey, whoa! Don't put it all on me, buddy.
I'm not telling you.
I'm okay either way.
Yeah,
I'm in for the long haul.
I'm not making any money.
But here's the thing.
Yeah, I'll host.
We're not trying to profit off tragedy because we're just talking about events. Right. People do that, right? He's fabricating drama in order for clicks and views. He's building up engagement by hyperbolic language at the expense of an American hero. That's sick.
Can I just ask Ozin a quick question? So you said like if the breaches the terms of service of the channel that he or of the social media platform that he's on, then obviously they can remove him. Broadly speaking, I agree with you. But given that Bill 230 exists, at what point does a terms of service not a term of service? At what point is an editorial policy better applied?
Well, it's not Bill 230. I think you're talking about Article 230 of the
Article 230. Sorry, yeah. But you understand what I'm getting at. In the 230 states that the social media platforms aren't responsible for the content of what their subscribers say because they're not like a newspaper. But in terms of service, when it's written aggressively enough and it's limiting enough, actually does become an editorial policy, not a terms of service.
How come? Yeah, because it falls on editorial rather than a service. That's
exactly.
I don't actually agree with it, and it got reformed a bit when Trump was president. It did get reformed a little bit, so I'm not sure quite where it stands now. I think the CompuServe and the Prodigy cases were setting good precedent at the time before Congress decided to step in and enact law to give these platforms carte blanche and to remove their immunities. And hopefully I'm not breaking up now that I removed my camera.
It's better.
Okay.
It's better. You're fading a little bit, but it's much better than it was before.
Well, I can turn. It's probably because I'm moving around or something stupid like that.
Buy your broadband from Walmart. That's the problem.
Yeah. I don't agree with Article 230. I think it should be based upon that they're like a publisher, and we should handle it.
Do you think that makes practically, because of the sheer volume of content, the reason for 230 existing in the first place is that we cannot manage this volume of content. It's we want to be responsible platform owners, but
excuse me, they should be treated as common carriers, not as publishers. I'm sorry.
All right, okay, that would be my position as well, common carriers. But
carrier.
and that essentially means that anything other than what actually infringes upon the law in the country in which they're operating should just be allowed left on the platform.
Yeah, I think that
so obviously things like removing child porn, revenge porn, slander, libel, stuff like that, obviously.
So I don't hang on. I don't know who this person is, so they need to message me. So let me know who you are.
We were going back to Destiny, and should he?
Yeah, as far as that, there is one thing that I brought up over here. We were talking like how we're talking about Destiny, like he's going through a situation with his wife or something like that. Well, not a wonder, because one particular response at Konstantin Kissin, I don't know if that's the same way.
Konstantin Kissin, he's the trigonometry host.
Okay, well, he said, I can see why it beats watching your wife get railed by another man for the 7,000th time. And Destiny actually quote retweeted and responded, quote, this is a quote, YouTube. I'm reading this. I'd rather watch my wife get railed 10,000 times over than betray family in Ukraine by throwing them under the bus to win an internet debate, you coward. Spineless F. Next time you moderate a debate, brush your teeth first so we won't have to smell Putin's load on your breath. Like, I had to respond to that. Anyone going to tell his wife? Because, I mean, you just threw your wife under the bus. You didn't really feel bad about that one, did you?
So hang on. So Michael wanted to fill you in on something.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Michael.
Yeah. So a Section 230 is it's essentially a subset of law that allows its platform to moderate what's on the platform. So that comes both from a censorious perspective in terms of outright removing content, but it's actually more prevalently it's applied to on the monetization side. So that's really, I think, what people are talking about here. They're not talking about it's removing his ability to speak on the platform, but it's removing his ability to earn money on the platform, because if he's violating the terms of service, then he is, like it should
right.
be.
So he can still have access to things like Twitter, but if there's a violation of terms of service for whatever reason they can demonetize him.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Twitter service. They don't have to monetize you, but to keep I think they would have to keep him on the platform at least, though.
Yeah, I mean, if Elon wants to keep his, his views about his speech there, then yes, correct. Like,
yeah. I mean, Elon is supposed to be like free speech and everything, so yeah, I wouldn't make sense for him to be moving from the platform, but just to demonetize him if that's his. But they can do that. I don't see
why would anybody want to remove him? Let's just watch his self-immolation.
Yeah.
That's what it's been. That's exactly. A lot of people are just like, yeah, why do you want to remove? This is gold.
I had to change my mind on that. I had put out a post saying, okay, here's your weapons. There is glorification of violence. There is dehumanization. There's all that. I put out a post like that. Now I'm not so sure. I think I see where everybody's coming from. Like, yeah, let him be a disgusting human being. By all means. I hope that he keeps the mask off so everybody sees how much of of just an ass he is. All right, I'm not going to go too far into the ad hominems. Otherwise, I might end up like him.
I think if it devolves into criminal activity or like defamation and stuff like that, that should be ban-worthy.
Yes.
But if it's just merely not ad friendly, I think right now he's in the ballpark of he's not ad friendly, so you can't.
He makes $1 million a year.
He makes 7 figures, definitely.
I know quite a bit about the economics of the industry. He makes significantly more than that.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, but it's at least $1 million. So for him to lose monetization on Twitter and YouTube would pretty much end him.
No.
You don't think so? As far as like income?
No, he'll still have not only donors, but he will have backers.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
He'll have backers.
I mean, it's still a hefty thing to. I mean, his reputation. Nobody's going to work with him after this. At least nobody of any consequence.
Nobody would have the right mind to.
Well, it's the thing is like his income on Twitter is, for all practical purposes, irrelevant. Like it doesn't matter.
Agreed.
Yeah. But even on YouTube, like the income he earns directly from streaming on YouTube is a tiny percentage of his overall income. It's like what a lot of people don't realize is that the direct monetization through these platforms is on like the high side, it might make up 15 to 20% of like a streamer or a YouTuber's income at that scale, and where more of their income actually comes from is like a recurring revenue from their audience for this type of a streamer. Like I don't remember the exact numbers, but I know when he had merch that I think he was doing more than $250,000 a month when he was on Twitch. So, and I'm assuming that's probably still somewhere in that ballpark.
And for what, being an edgelord kind of guy, and that's his shtick.
Yeah, I mean, yes,
Michael, I'll take your correction about Section 230. I was under the impression that it was essentially a protection for the service providers from litigation. That was I didn't realize it had more components to it, as you've just used.
So it's like it's protection from legal speech from the government enforcement side, but at the same time, it also allows the platforms to make its moderation a decision without being classified as a publisher, and that's the key piece of information here, and that's why this decision or this whole thing is so complicated, is because there's no good way to force these platforms to be sort of fair in their application.
And obviously, I assume Section or Article 230 doesn't really have anything to say around things like, as we've discussed, monetization, things like shadow banning, throttling reach, all that sort of stuff as well, which actually arguably it has more political impact than just banning a person, because if you ban a person, it's easy to see, and there are other platforms they can go to. But I'd just quickly like to, what was just mentioned with regards to Ukraine, Destiny's insane take on Konstantin Kissin's position. I subscribe to trigonometry. I follow both Francis Foster and Konstantin Kissin's Substacks. They are probably one of the, in my opinion, most measured and reasonable podcast channels out there. They will willingly talk to both sides, and they challenge anybody who they have on. These guys, these two gents, as far as I'm concerned, are two of probably some of the most courageous YouTubers that we have. Konstantin Kissin's position, because I feel Destiny has essentially slandered him here. Konstantin has Ukrainian family and Russian family. He came to the United Kingdom when he was 14 years old. And he is fully integrated into UK life. He considers himself he considers himself British, not English. He still considers himself to be Russian/Ukrainian, as much as he is a British citizen. Konstantin Kissin's position is absolutely the case that Ukraine is a sovereign nation and Russia is completely and totally in the wrong in terms of invading Ukraine. His practical take on the situation is that Ukraine needs to take the military wins and the military gains they have and leverage this against Putin in order to have a negotiated peace. Because all that is happening right now is Ukrainian men and Russian men are being killed in a completely unnecessarily. The fact that Destiny seems to think that this is a betrayal of the Ukrainian people is bloody insane. If he takes the corollary position to Konstantin Kissin, he is advocating for the unnecessary and completely brutal deaths of hundreds of thousands, millions of Ukrainian men. I'm living in a country right now where we have taken in tens of thousands of women and children from Ukraine because of what is going on there. Putin is indiscriminately shelling civilian areas and civilian infrastructure. Destiny's position on this is absolutely mental.
Yeah, there's no justification. So anyways, we have Ozian here. He's somebody. Ozian, you're not a nobody, are you?
I'm a nobody. I run matters.
You're not a nobody.
Now.
You're somebody. The silence one, I'm still working on that. Are you
I'm not a nobody. I'm a heartless. There's a difference.
Yeah, John Foley, nobody. Me, nobody. Michael, I don't know Michael. Josh is somebody. He's got.
Shout out to anybody that gets the Kingdom Hearts joke.
I am the most famous Ozian on all of Google.
You don't know who I am? Who
Just
you?
Google Ozian. You'll see.
New YouTube channel. Who dis?
I just want to point out, I have a guy on my Twitter feed. I debated him about the moon landing. Oh my goodness! I have him.
What?
I'm hosting a debate with. He's going to be debating Max on my channel coming up, and it's about this the 2025 stupid shit. And he says, yeah, denying people. I talked about Nuremberg trials 22. I don't know if you've heard people talk about that, guillotines and stuff for medical people. Yeah, denying people their human rights and calling for us to be imprisoned for refusing to wear masks does that to a MFer. So basically calling to kill people because doctors and politicians say you should wear a mask seems to imply that we should have trials to execute them. I mean, so there are people on the right. And for these audience members who probably are saying we're nobodies because we're criticizing Destiny, here I am criticizing the crazy people on the right wing who are calling to lock up doctors and scientists because he said you ought to wear a mask because of a pandemic. Now, I didn't advocate for a mask mandate either, because I think it's a little bit crazy to put people in jail because they refuse to wear a mask. Just like, guess what? It's a little bit crazy to execute people because they mandate you wear a mask. You crazy right-wingers.
Yeah, there's kind of crazies on both sides. But anyways, I am getting tired, guys.
You're getting tired. I'm on the East
Yeah,
Coast.
we've been up all day, man. I mean, geez, man, we just like never ending today. I thought Destiny would stop, and I thought when he rage quit, it'd kind of like be done. But dude, it's still going on.
He's still going.
He's still going on. Yeah, on Twitter, he's losing his freaking mind still.
He has to keep the hype, Steve.
Didn't he sleep at all?
No, he's a content creator. Content creators don't fucking sleep. We just we inject caffeine into our veins.
Dude, people don't even know how much caffeine I have in the day.
You might go down for a nap, but that's about it.
His neurons.
Monster. Yeah, that's my stuff. I like the Rockstars better, but that low cal sugar free monster that you have right there, silver ice, that's good stuff. I do like that one.
Destiny's neurons fizzling out because of lack of REM sleep, overstimulation on caffeine, whatever drugs he's taking, and repeatedly watching reruns of his wife being railed on.
10,000 by 10,000 different people.
He's going off on Donut Operator of all. I mean, even
6 hours.
Oh, you're kidding.
No.
6 hours of streaming today, and all the hours I put in to try to get people to come on my channels. And
I disagree.
Destiny was morally consistent. So please explain to us, Silver T93, how it is morally consistent to say that he's in a tweet say that he's against rape and murder, and then at some point later say he's perfectly fine with assassinations of political candidates.
I'm so glad I wasn't drinking my beer when I read that.
How do you reconcile this? He was perfectly fine that an innocent bystander died on American soil at the hands of a domestic terrorist in the process of an assassination attempt. He was giddy about this.
Yeah,
he seemed giddy. Repugnant as that sound, he seemed like he was happy that someone died for this.
He was happy.
There's one more vote for Biden.
You dropped the. I need to drink in order to process that statement.
One less vote for Trump, 1+1 for Biden. That's what he said.
Silver T. Also, we're not railing against his moral consistency. Hitler was morally consistent. We're railing against moral virtue. He's not. What he's doing is morally bad. If you're saying consistent and we're saying that he's morally bad, all you're doing is.
That's exactly what he said. That's exactly what he said in the tweets and in the space. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we're
straw manning his argument. That's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
Being consistent has nothing to do with being objectively morally correct.
That's true.
He didn't make an argument. He made statements that were absurd.
Hey, Josh, your mic is. Hang on.
John, did you actually say Hitler was morally consistent?
No, Destiny.
No, I said Hitler was morally consistent, but bad. Because the statement.
Yeah, pretty bad morals, actually. Yeah, I can agree with that.
But that doesn't mean that his morals are correct. It just means that.
Sorry,
they are on the same alignment.
I didn't hear the but bad part.
The butt bad. The butt bad part makes a difference there.
It definitely did. I was going to leave this stream immediately.
Let me make this perfectly clear. The reason that I said that is because Silver said that Destiny is being morally consistent, and I said being morally consistent doesn't speak to whether it's morally virtuous or not. You can consistently be bad and be morally consistent.
Yes, I totally agree. Sorry.
So let's put forth his argument, and this was his argument. And the silenced one, correct me if I'm wrong. You were there. Other people were there. So it was this. I'm not going to apologize until people apologize for the, saying the insurrection and what happened on January 6th. Until the Republicans apologize for what happened in January 6th, he's not going to apologize for saying anything about a dead American hero. That was it. That was his argument.
He actually went further than that. He said, unless people wake up and apologize for what happened on January 6th, I'm going to keep making any jokes I can about anybody who is supporting an insurrectionist.
So until Democrats apologize for slavery, I'm not going to let Biden off the hook until Biden apologizes for slavery. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a Democrat.
How stupid is that? The sins of the father extend for 5 generations. Are you kidding me?
He should apologize for what he did in 1994 with the crime bill.
Oh, yes. Oh, he was horrible record. Biden has a horrible record when it comes to Black lives in the United States. The shit he said, the number of Black lives he's put in prison over drugs, the 100,000 police policy, horrible record in the United States that he should apologize for. He never has. He keeps saying, "Oh, I'm doing so much. I'm doing so." He hasn't done shit. Doesn't anything for Black people in this country. And if you think I support Trump because I don't support Biden, you're full of shit. Because I don't support either. Matter of fact, I think Biden's a little bit better than Trump.
So Destiny, Destiny said on his live that people on the right would, quote, would celebrate his death. It's sad because I think he never truly understood how much that some people on the right respected him before July 13th. So was he saying that people, if something happened to Destiny, the people on the right would celebrate? I don't think anybody would. People on the right don't really celebrate those kinds of type of things. It's people on the left that seem to want the Republicans deceased.
Yeah,
I see
that.
that.
You know what?
I see that more often.
There is some justice. There is some justice towards the last part of that statement, though. With how much some people on the right respected him before January or before January.
Yesterday,
we talked about January 6th.
It's already a date. It's already. Well, I love this.
Well.
I love this.
I watched a show called The AAA Meeting, and one of the hosts, Sinatra, says he does respect. He did. I imagine he's seen all the crap with Destiny by now. But he last show that he hosted, he talked about Destiny, and he said, "Yeah, I don't disagree with Destiny, but you can't really argue with some of his points because his points are well made, and that is a sign of respect. That is a line that is a sign of respect, and that's why I said." Maybe I'll look into Destiny. And then just this morning, Steve came to me and said, "Hey, you want to be on the Non Sequitur show?"
I love this though. I love how my A bias didn't say people on the right respected him before yesterday. He already attached a date to this, July 13th.
July 13th,
D-Day, Destiny Day.
The second he knows that conservative blood reached the soil, that was the last straw.
The day, the Destiny.
I would not. If people were celebrating Destiny's death, I would say the same thing.
100%. If this was an attack on Biden, I'd be saying the exact same thing. If this was an attack on AOC, I would have been saying the same thing. It doesn't matter. It wouldn't have mattered who the attack was on. This is absolutely unacceptable.
And when people
Destiny profiting off of it is insanity.
When Marjorie Taylor Greene was attacking that one person for their looks and stuff like that, I was going after Marjorie Taylor Greene for being a friggin'
She was
idiot clown. What type of decorum does she have acting like that in a committee meeting? She
sounds like a mean girl high schooler, you know?
Oh my! It was horrible.
It's a darn shame Chris isn't here. Otherwise, I'd say, do people who act like that in the Australian Parliament?
But do you think he's rage farming? I've heard that been tossed around.
Okay, so rage farming, I could see it considering a huge event just happened on the other side.
That's a hell of a play right there, though, man.
That is a hell of a play, and it's an extremely risky play. I think one comment that we had earlier really spells it out, where he was trying to convince a lot of the forever Trumpers, hey, the left side is also good. And then as soon as that happened, 100% of his credibility threw out the window. So this is a desperate this is a Hail Mary for him. And unfortunately, he missed the pitch.
Yeah, but but think about the people he picked up, because he lost 2,000, gained 2,000. The people he picked up are the people that agree with him.
The people that he picked up, not entirely, because
he got blocked a lot. He got blocked a lot.
That's also like that's akin to follower policing on X, Steve. So like I follow people that I can fundamentally
I know, I
disagree
understand
with.
that. I get that. They're hate views.
So-
but in this particular case, I saw a lot of people blocking him and unfollowing him. And all of a sudden, he picked up. He went down. He lost 1,500, then he gained 1,500.
But look at the rhetoric
people who
shift. Go on, Michael.
Interesting. It's that people who are stopping and watching an accident on the highway. Like,
I get that, but I'm not convinced that's the case this particular time, because I see people supporting him, I see people condemning him, but the people that condemn him, these were all people that was in his circles that were blocking him. And so, what were the people that were being added?
Well, see, because
that's what I mean. Is the new people who are the people who are watching the accident? It's happening on the highway. Like,
right, and
I would follow that shit and watch it if I
guess.
Twitter.
I guess.
Like,
Sure, I get it.
The big shift in right-wing rhetoric now is we can't be polite. Like I say we as if I'm on the right wing. If I were on the right wing, I would say we can't be friendly about it now. We need to point out where the inhumane actors are, and we need to hold them to their words. We are no longer they're just acting out type. There is a big shift, especially following this event, in which a lot of people showed just how inhumane their thoughts are. You missed. It was 4 seconds from 4 inches from where this country would be a better place. We're hearing that now, and people on the right are taking it and saying no more, no, celebrating humans getting killed, no matter what your side is. It's reached that breaking point.
The sad part is that the liberals hate this, but this has helped the Republican Party more than any possible thing that it could have been about anything.
Everything that they've done.
Election's over. Yeah, they know this. I mean, there is no chance that Biden has. It is done. It was done during the debate. It was done again during the NATO. It was this was the coup de grace.
What's even more interesting is this event has made replacing Biden is essentially a non-starter for anybody but Kamala Harris.
She's the only rational choice they have.
Yeah, like nobody's
gonna come in.
No backbencher who has eyes on 2028 is gonna step up and be like,
no. Well, they're going to save it for 2028.
This is a great time.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to save it for 2028 and say, hey, Trump can't run again unless they change the 25th Amendment or something.
Yeah. And also, a Silver Tea, if the group was talking about that is previously, if no one's saying that he shouldn't have access to platforms, they're just saying that they don't have an issue if the platform is demonetized him, basically.
Correct.
Some people are calling for him to get removed.
Yeah, but
I'm sure some people are, but the vast majority of people don't care if he says dumb shit on the internet.
Exactly. People are wanting him to. People are like, you know what? People have been saying, take off your mask. At least you know what you're dealing with. But and like this photo is solidified. This is the day. This is going to be. I'm telling you, historically, this will be the day that they look back and say, this is where President Trump became the president again. Yeah. That he won. It's game over.
There is another photo from.
I've just spotted a crime. That Secret Service agent is molesting Trump. Arrest that woman immediately.
She's going right for the belt.
Did she ask for consent? Did he get consent? He might have a lawsuit on his hands.
I'm just saying, look at this photo. Trump has his fist up in the air in defiance. The U.S. flag is flying in the wind in distress.
It's
upside
ridiculous
down.
I mean, it's so iconic. It's ridiculous.
The Secret Service agents staring right in the camera. A woman, a female Secret Service agent.
I didn't think about that.
The former president of the United States, a female Secret
what's crazy is the same photographer who took this photo took another one just like as the bullet was shot, and you can actually see the bullet.
Yeah, I saw that. That was
in the photo.
That was incredible. This is a great question. Wait, that's not the one. No, wait. Where'd it go? Oh, here we go. How is it hate farming when he's losing big connections with big creators? It doesn't make sense. I don't think he has to make sense right now. He's not being very rational. Like we said, it might be a very short-term play that he didn't plan ahead well on.
No.
That big gamble that just might have not paid off.
I believe that it's a big gamble.
What Destiny should do, if he wants to maintain support on both sides, then he should start saying things that both sides can agree to. For example, on January 6th, whether people should have entered the Capitol building, people disagree, people agree. Whether Trump incited it, people agree, people disagree. What I think we can all agree on is that the person who took a shit on Nancy Pelosi's desk should have a bronze statue erected outside of the Capitol building immediately.
The lantern guy, the guy that stole the podium, what they call podium guy, what they call the lantern, right?
Yeah, the dude wearing the
the
helmet.
He was in the space with us.
He was. Yes, he was. Oh my God, I remember that.
Podium guy, the lecture guy, guy. He was in this space. He actually talked, and he actually gave the people the advice and stuff. I'm not even joking. So this is like there was a lot of big names in there. I saw some big YouTubers. I saw what's his name?
And this isn't the final straw for Biden because of this photo opportunity. This is a long string of failures for Biden
that man could break his back 5 different ways to Sunday, and they'll still put another string on that puppet.
I saw Lackluster in there. Lackluster was in there. He doesn't even do politics.
I think a lot of the reaction coming from the left here is it is pure jealousy. It's envy. You know, the political leader who on the right is a man who they took a shot at him. They ripped a chunk off of his ear. He's piled on by his Secret Service agents. The man who shot at him is killed, and then he fights off his Secret Service agents to get to his crowd, to get to his base, fist pumps the air, and just shouts, "Fight, fight, fight!" Despite the fact that he's in shock, he must be terrified. And this is the leader on the right. All of his good side, his bad side, just everything else about him, just set it aside for a minute and just look at the optics of this. And then the supreme leader on the left bounces around the stage like a fucking Roomba. It's you can't. And everything after everything they've thrown at Trump, the crazy prosecutions, this the biased juries, they must be so frustrated. So, I mean, they must feel so impotent right now. So, and I think like that probably with what's going on with Destiny, there's a big part of that is to do with it as well. But in terms of the just quick going back to the person who actually shot at him, do we know any more about his motivations at this point? Because there is some degree of ambiguity about where his allegiances were.
We're gonna find out, I'm sure.
We don't know. We still don't know the motivations for the Las Vegas shooter, do we?
Well, I'm pretty sure that dude was just like an arms dealer. That just kind of went nuts.
Well, my guess with this kid, he's gonna have some serious kind of mental health problems, or if he's right wing, then he's going to be so far on the right that he's going to have taken shots at Trump because he disagrees with Trump's sort of moderate position on abortion.
Yeah,
and if it turns out that he's extreme or something like that,
they have to investigate every single little aspect of this guy's life.
Oh yeah.
Anybody's ever talked to, anything he's ever done, it is all going to be under a microscope, and probably not a lot said until they at least have some preliminary stuff.
Well, dependent on anybody else being involved, people I feel for at this moment in time are going to be the family, because in all probability, this is going to destroy them.
Can we have a moment for his family, the shooter's family?
That's what I just said, Ozian. I feel it's going because this is going to destroy his family.
Yeah,
they in all probability knew nothing about it. Yeah.
They could have been decent, hardworking, farm people. I mean, just because he has some mental disorder, which I mean, here's the thing. This is my view on this. Anybody who does that automatically by fiat has mental unwellness, right? I mean, so
Yeah.
to say that we're gonna find out later on that he's been diagnosed or anything like that it's almost a given, because if he wasn't diagnosed, he had an undiagnosed condition.
Well, just speaking to the fathers in the room and in the chat and just in the world at large, I mean, my son's 5, but if I had a 20-year-old son and I had any kind of inkling that he was going to do something like this, there's no way that you would have prior knowledge of something like this and allow it to happen as a father. So, you know, there is some dad, there is some mum, there's probably some siblings somewhere that are mourning the death of their son, and are also going to live with the infamy from now until the day that they die. You know, and obviously if they were somehow complicit, well, then they should be on the gallows next to him.
Yeah, so there's a little bit about that. As far as his his political affiliations go. So the state of Pennsylvania is like a closed primary state, which basically means you have to register for the party of the primary that you want to vote in, and it is a super common thing for people
they were open.
to.
Pennsylvania was open.
It's closed.
Because somebody was saying that he registered as a Republican because of an open primary.
Yeah. So he now at the state level is closed. So it's whenever they do it's federal, it's election, it's closed.
Sorry, can you?
So
I don't understand the distinction between the open and closed registering. Can you just lay that out for me?
Yeah. So in an open primary, is you can vote for whichever candidate you want on whichever side you want, and you don't have to register. But in a closed primary state, you can only vote for the party that you register. So in Pennsylvania, it's super common for people to register with the opposing party to either vote for a more extreme candidate or a more moderate candidate to kind of drive the rest of the
there is nothing constitutional about primaries at all. This is party apparatus getting state power to conduct their party selection process and being involved with the state apparatus. The fact they can get the state involved in their party selection process is absurd in the first place. Can we?
Well, sure, but
no other party in the country except the Democrats and Republicans are allowed to do this bullshit.
The Greens, the Libertarians,
and I just wanted to.
They all get the same thing.
No, they're not allowed to do this. The Libertarians and Green parties are not allowed to do this process.
Josh, your mic is low, and that's why I don't think they're hearing you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
It's better.
Yes.
No, I was just saying Michael's right, because I live in Pennsylvania. So
yeah, I'm not disagreeing with him at all. He sounds right to me.
If you want to vote in a primary in Pennsylvania, you have to be registered for the party you want to vote in the primary for. So if I'm a registered Democrat, say, I can't vote in the primary for a Republican. I can only vote for a Democrat. That's just the way Pennsylvania works.
Why are the states involved in primary selection processes?
Well, because it's part of the state constitution.
What?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Why is it in the state constitution to have to pick between the Democrat and the Republican?
No. The primary process is in the state constitution.
Is it?
Yes.
What part of the Constitution is it?
Yes.
Not every state, but in a bunch of states it is.
In the state
do
constitution.
you think that the Green Party and the Libertarian Party have primaries?
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't.
No,
yes.
They literally do.
No, they literally don't.
Ooh, we got debate.
Ooh,
yes, they do.
No, they do not.
Well, hang on.
We've had 27 yes, they do, no, they don't. Can you lay out your cases, please?
They have to assign delegates.
No, hang on. I'm taking control here. Steven, hang on, Steve. I want you to moderate this quick debate between Michael and Ozian.
All right. Ozian?
Ding, ding. You got the bell. Yeah, you got the bell.
Right.
You got to use the bell.
Each of you will have 1 minute each to state your case as far as your side of the argument. We will start with alphabetical order. So, Michael, you will start your side of this argument at 1 minute. And then, Ozian, you will have a minute to retort. And, Michael, we'll see if we can get to the 30-second mark to have a reply as such.
And I'll be the adjudicator judge. And
right.
I already know I think I already know the answer to this question. So
yep.
I'm already
Michael, your minute starts now.
Yeah, so like these parties still have a delegate allocation process. Their primaries work a little bit different than the traditional parties' primaries. It's because not everything is done on a vote basis. Some is done on a local allocation basis. So essentially, these small groups of the Libertarian Party and some a county in Texas, for example, would assign their delegate without doing a general vote, but there is still a primary process. Like that's just how it's done. I know this because I've done it.
All right, Ozian.
All right, Ozian, you have 1 minute starting now.
They have a Libertarian National Convention every 4 years. They send delegates that the state parties select to the Libertarian National Convention. It's not a primary. And at the convention, those delegates choose, and they have to have at least 50% of the delegates that select the president candidate. And then after they select the president candidate with at least 50% of the delegate votes, they select the vice president candidate. They do not select it during a primary process. They do it at the convention.
All right. And what I've seen, what I've looked up, and other persons noticed the same thing, the 2024 Green Party presidential primaries exist, are a series of electoral contests to elect delegates to the 2024 Green National Convention, which will be virtually event in August 15th. It is called the Green Party presidential primaries. I'm going to go with Michael on this one.
It sounds like the processes are so different that calling them both primaries is kind of
they're called primaries.
Yeah,
it's a slightly different process, but yeah, it's not a vote.
Michael is a politician.
I guess what I'm getting at is in the same way as like the usage of the word primary from Ozian's. It seems like Ozian's position is these processes are so different that even if you call them the same thing, they're not the same thing. Whereas Michael's position is, well, they are both called primaries, but they operate differently. So I don't know how you're going to split the difference on that one. I mean, would you guys, Michael and Ozian, would you agree with my assessment of that?
No, because like it's not an open vote primary like the Republican and the Democrat primary process is. It's like but they still vote on a local level,
right? They got
and then they assign their own delegate.
Correct.
As
exactly.
opposed to the state party picking the delegate.
Do you support the state government apparatus being involved in the selection process?
Yes,
for primary candidates. Why do you support the state 100%. Government being involved in the party selection process?
Because that's how it's constitutionally written at a federal level.
No, it's not. Where's it at the federal level? Tell me what. Name the law. Name the constitutional law.
There is a subset of the U.S. Constitution that
tell me what
that designates election processes to the states.
Tell me what it is for the primaries in the state.
It's the primary is just a developed process that came out of the long history of the country. Like all these positions used to be just picked by the governor, and then people voted on them.
Sorry, so Ozian, would you just have everybody voting on every individual who is a member of a particular party voting just on a federal level rather than having the states and then the states voting?
I would make the parties select their candidates without using the state apparatus, like the Libertarian and the Green Party does.
Yeah, so each individual member of the party, regardless of which state they live in, just votes for their like either I want Trump to be the leader, I want Biden to be the leader, I want Biden to be the president.
Just like
this is a discussion among tons of libertarians, and it's all about resource allocation.
Just like the Green Party does and Libertarian Party does.
The Libertarians and the Green Party and every other party under the sun, they all get resource allocation for this. They just choose to do it differently, and it's because they have different budgets.
Well,
That's
how
all
much
it comes down to.
You're seeing the Libertarian Party gets money from Pennsylvania?
Yes.
How much?
If they get funding from the federal government. I don't know what the
much
exact number is, but I know they get funding.
How much do they get?
It's probably a couple $1 million for the whole country. But what you have to remember is that the Democrats and Republicans get the same budget. They just
don't.
Yes,
they
do.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
But
they also get their own. They also put up their own resources from their own fundraising.
They don't get
real
money.
Quick, Steve, you said you got to go, Steve.
Well, no. I said hi, Steve.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because Jamie Russell said hi, and I said, "Oh wait, wrong Steve."
There's two Steves in here.
There's two Steves.
Yeah, no, Jamie's been around the channel very long.
You actually have it backwards. The parties are required to pay the state for the primary processes in all the state that primary processes.
Yes, but they
there
all get federal funding.
There is no constitutional law that says that primaries are supposed to be run by the states. You're completely wrong on that. I don't know of any
They're part of the electoral process.
No, they are not part of the electoral process. You're completely wrong.
Yes, they literally are.
No, it's not. You're completely wrong. Name the law.
Boy, you guys are like, you guys are both sure. Michael.
So you're just making it up, then.
No, I'm not. It's part of the electoral process. It's just designated in the Constitution.
No, it's not in the Constitution.
The states decided that this is how they're going to
order. Josh, what were you saying? Real quick. His mic is so low.
I'm gonna actually disagree with Michael on this one and go with Ozian.
Woo!
I think that Ozian's correct on that there isn't.
There's not an express law.
Yeah,
you are correct about that.
I think Ozian's correct on this one.
Well, recently we had a case that would put this to bed. Didn't the Supreme Court vote on whether Trump could be removed from ballots or not?
Well, we're talking about state law. But we're on state law at this point.
That's being removed from ballots.
It would be nice to look for a way to maybe verify one way or another, because I wouldn't even know where to look if this is something that's enumerated or expressly allowed in the state constitution for that.
The case was literally state versus Fed. It was a case of I think I forgot what state it was.
Primary ballots, and they couldn't remove them from a primary ballot because that's primary elections. They can't determine. The state can't decide who's on the primary ballot because that's primary party.
Right. The federal government is the one that has to decide what's on the what's on the primary ballot. And as far as actual elections, I think Michael's right. As far as the full elections after the primary.
You're wrong. You're both wrong. The federal government and the state government has no say who's on a primary ballot. That's up to the party. The party determines who's on the primary ballot. That's it.
You are talking about naming on a ballot. We are talking about funding the process of running a primary.
Yeah, those
are two different things.
The party has to fund running the primary ballot.
Yes, it does, but the process from which that is derived is set up in the U.S. Constitution and directing the states to conduct election processes.
Not for the primaries.
The states.
So wait a minute. Hang on. So hang on, Michael. It's not expressly enumerated, but it's inferred. Something along those lines. Okay.
Yes.
Not for
and
I get that.
The primary process has just been driven down to be the process that the enumerated powers are enacted upon. Like, the governor, for in all intents and purposes, could literally just pick a Republican and a Democrat and a Green and a Libertarian and whatever parties are under the sun if they wanted to.
No, they can't.
Yes, they can.
No, they can't.
But they don't. They do not do that.
They
because
can't do that.
There is a democratic process that has been derived to do that.
They just tried to do it. They just tried to say Trump wasn't allowed to do that. SCOTUS said, no, you don't have the authority to do that. SCOTUS just ruled and said they didn't have, they just did.
No. Congresses in various states around the country tried to ban Trump from the ballot. What the SCOTUS said is that you have a primary process. You cannot arbitrarily reject people from the primary process. What I said is that the governor could pick a candidate for that. It's that party's its nomination, basically, and just forego the primary altogether. That would still qualify for the state running the election under, like, the U.S. Constitution. A primary election process has just been designated as the standard for how this is done. Then the parties run their own process, and the election itself is overseen by the state.
I don't think you understand how parties work. So the government.
Wait, hang on, Ozzy, hang on one second. Mike, it sounds like Michael has literally done this for a living. Like, he literally is part of the political.
Think he understands how. He might do it for a living, but I don't think he understands how parties work. Parties are like.
If he did it for a living, wouldn't he?
Silverstein said I was right.
So I don't think you understand how private.
I was going to say John Foley's right. He's the British here. He's
parties are like private organizations.
Yes, they are.
The governor can't say your private organization. I'm going to just say your person X is going to be the candidate for your private organization.
They literally could, because that's how it was done for like 70 years.
So, Michael and Ozian, can I just quickly? So, Ozian, in terms of how parties work, my perception of this, based on what you're saying, is that the party, which sits over the entirety of the federalized United States, regardless of whether you're Republican or Democrat, the party is essentially a subscription club, and anybody who pays their subscription has the right to vote for who they want their representative of their particular club to be. And then whoever is voted to be representative of their club is required to be put on the ballots in all of the individual states. And then in all of the individual states, the state infrastructure comes into play to facilitate the election. Now, what some of the states did was said, we're not going to accept the primary candidate that has been voted for by the club because we don't like him for whatever reason. And Michael, what you're saying is that they can put their own representative in place at the state level, and that's constitutionally acceptable.
So if they did not allow for any election process in the primary, right, at the state level, then yes, the governor could technically do that. I'm not saying that they do.
So under that system, so if they could, so let's for argument's sake say that Trump and Biden are on the ballot in all 50 states with the exception of one. And in that one state, Trump is not on the ballot because that state has put their own Republican representative on the ballot instead. If that state, then if the Republican wins in that state, those state representatives can present themselves to the Capitol and elect Trump.
No. Well, I mean, yes and no. But it has more to do with the fact that with how they carry out the rest of their primary process. Right? So if there's any electioneering in the primary process in the state, it has to be the same for everybody. So the Democrats would have to hold their primary, right? And if they had any voting on that, then the Republicans would also need to have voting on it in that state.
Right. So let's say
And
so the vote.
The reason
so the
that this
voting.
exists in law is because up until when was it? The late 1800s, early 1900s. I don't remember the exact date, but the senators from all states were actually just appointed just by the governor. Like that's just how it worked.
So
well, the senators still had to be confirmed by
yes,
the Senate.
So in the primary, in the primary, so Michael, in the primary,
well, the Senate could still reject them even when they went to the Senate.
Yes, just
go back,
not the federal Senate.
So going back to the primary process, then, like, let's set aside who ends up on the ballot for the actual election, but just the primary process. So the primary process, as it happens now, in order to essentially enfranchise as many people as possible, I think what you're saying, Michael, is that state 1, 2, 3, and 4, they vote individually for who they want to be their primary candidate.
Correct.
And then between states 1, 2, 3, and 4, if 3 states vote for Trump to be the primary candidate, then Trump's the primary candidate. Well, and then state 1 who voted for somebody else to be the primary candidate, their votes are at this point disregarded.
Yeah, so it's yes and no. So in state 4, if whoever else was of a Vivek, let's say, is voted in state 4, then the Republicans would go to the national convention, and then the delegates would actually vote on Trump if being the nominee, and then Trump is the nominee.
Yeah, so the delegates are the party representatives from each individual state.
Yes,
and it is the delegates' responsibility to vote how instructed them to based on party lines.
Yes.
Well, the delegates can vote for whoever they want to for the party.
No.
Yes, they can.
They cannot in the Republican Party. They have to vote on their state. The Democrats,
the party can select their own rules. The Republican Party can establish their own rules.
Yes, and they have established rules that it has to be by vote.
But they can change their rules if they want.
They can change rules
for how they select parties. But governors don't select who their candidate is for their party nominee for POTUS. So the whole state primary process is a sham in the first place. And they're not all primaries. There's caucuses. There's primary. It is a sham.
I wouldn't call it a sham. I would call it independent of the federal government, but I wouldn't call it a sham.
How's it not a sham? Why have the process?
Because they're acting on behalf.
It's a selection process.
Yeah,
what the fuck do you think it is?
On behalf of the voters in their party.
Why isn't just the part? Why shouldn't the party be responsible for selecting their candidate? Why is the government apparatus?
They are. That's what the Republican.
That's what the fucking primary is.
The Democrat National Convention is about.
Why is the government apparatus involved in creating a two-party system?
Because the government apparatus has scale to actually execute on a vote.
To create a two-party system. To maintain
we have multiple parties in this country. There are.
No, we have two parties, and you're part of the system.
It's a duopoly.
Yeah, and you're part of the reason we have a two-party system.
No, it's a duopoly. There are 2 primary parties, but there are dozens of smaller parties
that never get voted.
Man, I'm drunk.
It doesn't matter if they don't get on the ballot.
They don't get on the ballot because the state apparatus has. Because those 2 parties are embedded, they have the control because the primary apparatus is embedded with the state, and they control the money for the state. They determine how it gets funded for the state because those 2 parties have all the political power on how the primaries are ran for every single state.
So, Adrian, your critique of this system is the same critique as I have of our political system, in the UK, and it is partly because the United States inherited a lot of how your political infrastructure works from us. So we have what is essentially is a bottom-up system, not a top-down system. So in the UK, you vote for a local representative, and then your local representative is affiliated with a political party, and the political party that gets the most local representatives that are affiliated under their either Labour or Conservative banner then becomes the party in power, and they need a majority in order to be able to do that. But funding for each political party is based on proportion of the vote in precedent previously. So for a breakthrough party coming into that system, it is very, very, very difficult. The example being that we've just had recently is Reform got 4 million vote over nearly and ended up with 4 seats.
You know when the last time it happened for the United States?
Well, the Labour Party received that was about 14% of the vote, but the Labour Party received somewhere in the region of 35% of the vote, so just over double what Reform got, and they've got 415 seats.
I want to say 1946, around there is when it happened last.
Well, technically, the last time it really happened was with Lincoln.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Civil War.
Yep.
Well, just real quick, Elon Musk is crapping on Destiny too. That's
yay! We're back to Destiny.
Weird.
Awesome.
That's just weird to see. I'm just looking at it, going, man, Elon Musk is dumping on him.
And I still respect you, Michael. I just don't respect the duopoly and the apparatus involved in it. And I would say the parties should have their own processes, and so that the media and the government apparatus is all involved in making sure we have a duopoly. And it's always going to be a duopoly. We might change the name, but it always ends up being the same people.
I don't know. We can always vote for a third party, but
well, let me ask you this. So real quick, and I just looked at the current 2024 CNN ratings. They have already projected Trump to win at 272. You only need 270, right? Yeah, 270. That's right. I remember from last time. He's already two points over Biden at 225, so he needs 45 more. I mean, he's not going to win the swing states like back. The swing states are done. I don't see any way in the world that Biden can win this election. It's just mathematically not possible.
The only thing Trump needs to do is name a Youngkin as his VP, and it's over. Like, so, it's mathematically over. Like,
I'm saying it's mathematically over just about now. I mean, this is the same thing that happened in 2016. I was live when we were doing the election coverage, and we were calling in real time. It was like, this is done. This is over. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter if the rest of the states, So I think you're right, though. I mean, this is Trump's game to throw away by selecting a very crappy VP. All he has to do is pick a very decent VP that people are happy with. He's won. He's won.
I told somebody, you know what? Biden needs to do like what Trump did with putting the fist up and say, I'm stepping down. Andrew Yang, you're the man.
It's the only chance they have.
Yeah, do UBI.
He can't.
UBI.
He can't. I know. Well, he can step down, but it'll be Kamala Harris.
Why can't?
It's not an optics thing. Like, it's a money thing. If anybody but Kamala, it takes the reins. At the return, all the money that's been donated.
Yeah, Kamala Harris is the only possible choice.
They just have to convince everybody to say.
But she has to pick. But she has to
that's
pick
a 30. That's a 25 to 30% loss immediately.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
Because if people just forget that they did it.
Who would she pick?
Who knows? Like, or who cares? I mean, honestly.
Yeah, that's true, right? It's almost irrelevant. It really matters what Trump picks more than anything. But even then,
just did a poll. She's only losing by 1 point against Trump, though.
Look,
the recent poll
so are we talking about Kamala Harris here?
Listen. Trump could literally pick G-Man and he could win.
God damn.
Damn, I'm telling you. So
Yeah.
one person gets this joke. F you all.
Trump could pick Joe Biden and he would win.
My joke's funnier. People
Here
people-
it is. So the
Harris-
most
won't get it.
recent poll,
Mr.
Trump is only up by 2 points. It's Trump 48,
irrelevant.
Harris 46.
Harris
So-
is polling better than Biden right now.
Yeah.
It's in a head-to-head match against Trump.
Which is
Yeah.
That's why the Democrats are saying, Biden, we need you to step down.
Yeah, they need to take one for the team, but he won't do it.
But I mean, yes, it's a dude's got a massive ego, and anyone
Michael,
who
he
says
cannot
otherwise
win right
is
now. He
is
cannot
lying.
win. He's
But-
been telling people, oh, they have been telling me I can't win. My people have been telling me that. I think they have been telling him that.
Have we
Guy-
had any
No,
polls
I
after the
honestly don't think they
assassination
have.
attempt?
Hang on one sec, Michael. What they have been telling
No,
him?
they
haven't
haven't.
been.
So,
Then they're incompetent.
yeah, well,
Kamala is a young, attractive, I mean, not too young. Kamala is a vibrant,
She's an
attractive woman.
Well, that's given. Yeah,
you
she's
can,
stupid as hell.
you can think she's an idiot. She's an attorney.
She sucked her way to the top.
She's an attorney. She's an attractive woman. You guys are all biased.
she has less of a
I'm all
chance
for
of
women
winning.
in politics, but she has no shot.
I am all for women in politics too. Just not someone that laughs at every single interview, acting like nothing's wrong.
She has less of a chance of winning the African American vote than Joe Biden does, and Joe Biden's a fucking racist.
Well, that was Harris's own fault. The commercial she's made, like she had that one commercial with I don't remember the name of the actress that was on Black
Harris is
television,
attractive.
and it was over the top. Harris doesn't seem like she's a real person. Like she's playing a character almost.
Yeah.
It doesn't come across as true.
That's what I like about her. That's what I like about her.
She has a more fundamental problem, and that is that the slate of potential VP picks that she can choose. There's, I think, maybe two of them is that are it's viable, and of those, neither add any strategic value.
You wouldn't help her at all.
Yeah, like at all, because the most well-known person that she could pick is from California.
Gavin Newsom.
She
right?
can't. Yes, and she can't.
Newsom would be her best bet, I think.
Yeah, and you can't have a president and a VP from the same state. It's illegal. So
I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah. She has to pick somebody from a different state.
Well, and here's the other problem as well. You have to have Kamala on the ticket, because if you don't, if it's no longer Biden and Kamala, then all of the campaign funding that has been raised so far, they can't use. They're not allowed to use it.
That's not entirely true. As long as Kamala or Biden are on there.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what I said. So it has to be.
You need both of them.
No, that's what I'm saying. So if Biden drops down,
I'm reading from history.com that there is no rule they can't be from the same state.
Oh my God, we're back to this again.
The reason why some people mistakenly believe such a prohibition exists comes down to a particular aspect of the electoral college system laid out in Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution. Article 2 states electors shall meet in the respective state and vote by ballot for two persons, of whom one at least shall not be an inhabitant of the same state with themselves.
AP says that Harris could pick Newsom. They say, and this is AP. Harris would have to start over again. Harris would have to start over several of the most discussed Democratic alternatives, like Gary Newsom and Gretchen Whitmer. I guess she could pick them from the same state.
Yeah, because it used to be different.
He would have to resign from it's a governorship of California, and he would have to move to.
Oh yeah.
Nevada.
I agree. I agree. There would have to be some logistics. Yeah, probably you're right. Right.
Well, I mean, even if she did choose Newsom, I think the biggest problem there
the 12th Amendment,
the condition that his state is in.
Stop yelling! I like my hearing.
Right.
I have high pitched hearing. You know what I have left for range. I like to keep it because that was
12th Amendment adopted in 1804 after two chaotic elections mandated that electors can separate ballots for president and vice president. However, the rule of preventing an elector from voting for two people from the same host state remained in effect under the new system. In most elections, this quirk in the system wouldn't even matter. Good thing your friend did. Anyways, it's just saying they can do it. So,
well,
there's
I don't know.
a federal election commission.
Just add it to the pile of the constitutional mess that needs to be worked out, I guess.
Well, it used to be because the VP was a runner-up, so the system got changed.
Yeah. But I'm glad we got to the bottom of Destiny being a total piece of shit.
Yeah, I think that's the conclusion. I think that's the takeaway, right, guys? Yeah. I mean, I didn't want to slam the guy this morning. I really didn't.
No, you tried so hard to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Out of all of it,
I was terrible as shit, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and the thing is, I like Destiny and a lot of his content, but the thing for me that I just can't, like, the fact that he posted that tweet, which was, all I see here is Pennsylvania +1 Biden vote. Now, he posted that before he knew, as far as I'm aware, who the person was who had been killed. And so I'm sure he wasn't aware necessarily of the terrible, terrible optics of it being sort of like a firefighter who was shielding his daughters from gunfire. But at the same time, that shouldn't really matter. That is just like celebrating.
He made no attempt
but he's
to walk
been this way forever. Like
celebrating the death of a.
Yeah, like
so
he's had the same takes like this for years. Like,
is he actually a sociopath? Like you think?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, that makes sense. And it's consistent. If he actually is a sociopath, then he wouldn't understand his own actions. He wouldn't process them because where's that background noise? There's TV on. Oh,
yeah, I think it's just echoing.
He doesn't process it like we would. He's not seeing what other people are seeing because he doesn't have the empathy. He doesn't have the compassion. He lacks it. If he's a true sociopath, but I think Michael might be right on this. He literally, his brain is not processing it the way other people would.
He does seem to be very dispassionate in how he analytically looks at things. That being said, he like how he's been recently, he does seem to be manic, and I don't know if it is if you're manic and if you have these sort of like overly emotional sort of reactions to things, does that line up with sociopathy? I'm not necessarily convinced.
Yes, to an extent. He's I will admit this is probably the most extreme version of it. It's that I think I've ever seen from him, but I think that has a lot to do with the fact that I don't know basically since he's gone into his real deep dive on the Israeli-Palestinian war, and he started taking tons of basically it's Ritalin, like it's ADHD, it's products. I would not be surprised if that has caused a significant
change, like an actual
disassociation.
You think he's having a psychotic episode, a dissociation episode? I don't think he's having a psychotic break, but is he having a meltdown? Then
no. Like I'm not saying a break, but I'm saying like ADHD medication can amplify kind of like its level. It's sociopathic behavior.
Yeah, and he said he was on stuff. He also said he was taking ecstasy as well.
So he's medicated himself into sociopathy, is what we're saying.
So to a more extreme version of it, yeah.
So the VP has moved to Washington. So anyway, sorry.
So anyways, you guys want to wrap it up?
Yeah, it's almost 3 o'clock in the morning where I am, dude.
So we're gonna get 1 minute wrap ups, and then the silence one has something he wants to read.
Yep.
And we can call it a night because I think we all agree. I mean, literally, like everybody, even my live chat agrees. I don't think anybody's really standing up for Destiny at this point. It's unfortunate, but I just there's no way I can support that guy. Ain't no way.
Dying on a big hill.
But big hill. All right, so Anybody wants to say anything before he wants to read something?
Yeah, just quickly, as an outside observer to the United States, it's a shame that you guys are having to go through this. We've got our own fair share of political nutbaggery in the UK right now. But since the UK is welcoming the entirety of the rest of the planet, if you guys have had enough, you're more than welcome to join us over here. You can come back to the civilized world and join us in our either communist dystopia or Muslim caliphate, depending on how you look at it. So,
Scotch eggs.
Sorry, buddy. I already left the crown to come to America. We're going to annex the UK when all this is over.
I still have not got my damn Scotch eggs.
The U.S. is still the best country in the world.
You know how many years it's been that I wanted Scotch eggs and I can't get any? Yeah, I'm going to be so disappointed that when I try them too. They're probably not going to be great. So.
It depends where you get them from, Steve. If you get them from a nice classical country pub where they actually properly make them fresh, it's the best thing in the world. If you buy them from the supermarket, it's like
I want a
breadcrumb sand with an overboiled egg in the middle. So I wouldn't recommend it.
I could look at it and tell you what it's supposed to taste like. So, anyways,
Steve, I will make you a Scotch egg.
Let's do it.
Properly.
Yeah, come on. Well, you're coming when you come down.
I'll come out there.
Have you ever cooked? You know how to cook Scotch eggs?
Yes.
No.
My ex-girlfriend lives in London. I've been there.
Oh, so she's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
I
just really want a Scotch egg.
All
right, I'm going to end this as soon as Steve reads what he's going to read, and he says good night. I'm going to end the StreamYards here, so because I got to go to bed. All right.
Ladies, gentlemen, and I guess everywhere between. I don't know. I'm that tired. I'm going to be reading a speech that's basically how I feel the Republican Party is now like galvanized towards anything political that they're arguing following the assassination attempt on Trump. It is a speech from the 1940s film The Great Dictator from the great Charlie Chaplin. It's a classic speech. It was also Charlie Chaplin's first and only time speaking on the silver screen. So, I'm sorry, but I don't want to be an emperor. That's not my business. I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world, there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent and all will be lost. The airplane and the radio has brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness in men, cries out for universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world, millions of despairing men, women, and little children, victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men, machine men, with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines. You are not cattle. You are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate, the unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery, fight for liberty. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke, it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to create, damn, I lost my spot. I was so good. I'm so tired. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful. It is almost 3:00 in the morning. It's almost done. You, the people,
can do it. You're almost there. You're almost at the end. You can do this.
To make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure, then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world, a decent world that will give men a chance to work, that will give youth a future and old age a security. By the promise of these things, brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill that promise. They never will. Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people. Now let us fight to fulfill that promise. Let us fight to free the world, to do away with national barriers, to do away with greed, with hate and intolerance. Let us fight for a world of reason, a world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Soldiers, in the name of democracy, let us all unite. And then a big cheer happens, and he raises his fist in the air.
Let us all unite, except with destiny. Good night.
Yeah.